Blog Talk Radio.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Jets Radio. This is one of your hosts, Tyson Roush, and believe it or not, we got a jam-packed show for you. We got some new topics, some old topics. Hopefully, we'll keep everybody awake and not bore anybody, but we'll do our best. So let me introduce the man of the people, Long Beach Joe. What's up, man?
What's going on, Ty? Man, can't wait to get to what we got to talk about, man. So much things moving. Still got to talk about a lot about free agency. Like you said, we got a lot of new topics we got to cover as well. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Listen, man, I'm the man of the people. I am here for the people. Let me shamelessly promote our Facebook page. Everyone go to Facebook, search Let's Talk Jets Radio. Like that page. Our content's up there. Go ahead and give it a listen. Message us. We'll message you right back. We love going back and forth with folks about this football team. Also, leave us some feedback. We love hearing about what you folks think we do here on Let's Talk Jets Radio. So without further ado, Ty, let's go ahead and get into the show, man. I'm fired up.
Yeah, as always, we're on Instagram and Twitter at Talk Jets Radio. We're on YouTube, Let's Talk Jets Radio. Prime time, put a new video up there today. And also, we are doing Let's Talk Mental Health on YouTube. We're trying our best to raise awareness about mental health issues around the world. So I want to thank everybody for supporting us with that and reaching out. It's definitely pretty cool. If you want to listen to us after the show is over, we're on Spreaker.com, iTunes, SoundCloud, Podbean, Apple Pod, and all this other stuff. So check it out. As always, we appreciate it. And, Joe, we got a lot to talk about, and there's some new topics that came up this week, and if anybody follows us on Twitter, there's been some really heated disputes over these topics. It's gotten ugly at times where this is definitely going to be a long month. But we'll start with the news that the Jets most likely are not going to re-sign Robbie Anderson just based on his price tag. According to Connor Hughes, they're looking to pay him about $10 million. The market value is well above that based on the thin free agency market. So it looks like, as of now, according to reports, this is just we can only talk about what the reports are, he's going to be gone. My first question is this. If this is the case and the market is not catching anybody by surprise, should the Jets have traded him at the trade deadline then?
Yeah, absolutely. As a matter of fact, the Jets should have traded him before that. Remember, I think it was like last season when there were reports that the Eagles were interested in dealing for him for give us a third round. We should have traded his ass then. I remember I was one of the guys talking about that. And there was a lot of fan base that was with it for a while, and then all of a sudden it was like, no, we gotta keep Robbie here. And it was like, dude, you gotta get rid of the guy. And at that point, we were also talking about the off the field stuff that he had issues with because he had so many problems and bump-ins with the law here and there. So, but yeah, we should have got rid of him when we could have. And now he's going to walk out the door, and he's going to go somewhere else, and he's going to get paid a lot of money. Because, like you said, again, this thin wide receiver free agency class, dude, he's going to have a chance to really, get a team to really pay him big bucks. So it is what it is. I understand why we didn't do it. I've been a guy that's advocating for not paying him that type of money because he is not a number one wide receiver. I'd rather take that money and go elsewhere and build other parts of this team up. So it is what it is. I mean, you could see it coming. The writing was on the wall.
Yeah, and this is, it's an interesting topic because, right now Joe Douglas is supposed to a lot of people to save these things. And move by move, to me, I'm not a negative fan. I just want to analyze everything because I don't give this guy a pass for anything. He's got a lot to prove, and he's done nothing in my eyes. He's not the master of the Eagles, not the master of the Ravens. He was a piece of the puzzle making decisions. Now he's the primary decision maker, according to Chris Johnson. And it's like, okay, this Robbie Anderson situation was, all right, if you don't trade him at the trade deadline, then in my opinion, you're saying, we're going to make a very good effort to try to re-sign him. If you're only willing to pay him $10 million in a market that's like this, he's going to laugh in your face. He's not going to give you a hometown discount. He's already told us that. He said it, already told us that. So either you're going to be competitive or you're going to let him walk. If you let him walk, people are saying, we'll get a compensatory pick. There's no guarantees with that, especially how active the Jets are going to be in free agency. No guarantee. At the same time, we need picks this year. I don't care about next year. I need this year. So letting him walk and not getting compensation this year, to me, is stupid. And then here's the other thing we're getting now. Now people are like, just franchise tag him. Why? So you're going to go for – you don't want to – you want to give him $10 Dude, you don't understand the Twitter timeline. At Talk Jets Radio, I've been fighting off the Dragons for 3 days now. So now people are saying, let's just franchise tag him. All right, so now you want to tag him at $18 million. You don't want to pay him more than 10. You're going to tag him at 18 and hope a team gives you draft picks? That ain't happening. First-round picks? So, to me, this is a fascinating scenario. This, to me, is there's about 3 or 4 players that Joe Douglas, this is his first test with us. And to me, this is becoming concerning if they let him walk and they don't get compensation and they hope for a compensatory pick. It's, and the other argument, I got one more before I forget it. The other one was we couldn't trade him at the trade deadline because we need him for those last 7 games or 8 games for Sam. Say what? What exactly do we need him for? I mean, it wasn't like the offense was that good with or without him. I mean, we needed him, but we couldn't throw Sam to the wolves. We threw Sam to the wolves behind a bad offensive line, a bad play calling, and everything else. Now we're scared to trade him because Sam needed him, and you're letting him walk anyway. Dude, I don't understand it. All of a sudden, everybody is like the biggest Joe Douglas defender. Have we lost a sense of reality here?
Well, look, first off, I respect everybody. I love everybody on Jets Twitter. Look, I got a lot of love for y'all. But to say that we were scared to trade him because we needed him because of Sam for the last 7 games, but we're not scared to try to trade Le'Veon Bell? We didn't need, the most dynamic weapon that we have on our offense. We didn't need him for Sam for the rest of the season. No, I don't think that's necessarily true. What I do believe to be true, though, is that it was tough to trade Robbie because of the fact that he was on his last year of his deal and because he was going to touch free agency. So whatever teams were probably trading for him, it was probably going to be a trade and sign. And when they probably heard what he wanted, they were just like, oh, no, we're not going to give away that type of value and then have to sign you to that type of money. I could see that scaring off a lot of teams from, giving us some solid value back because they'd have to pay him that much money. When it's like, okay, well, we'll just wait until the offseason and then get you in for free. Why not do that? So that's something that could have really shook the boat there. Like I said, I think our big opportunity for trading him was last season. We should have moved him then before coming into this season. There was value there. We should have got it while we could and moved on from him. But Joe Douglas, for me, I think this is a smart decision because if you look at this draft, it is chocked full of wide receiver talent. There's a lot of guys in this draft that can do exactly what Robbie Anderson does without a question, and you're going to get them at a fraction of the cost. So I don't necessarily have a problem with him moving on for him. I just need to see that Joe Douglas understands how to move on, make sure he has a guy, in his midst that he's going to be able to grab to give us some solid production as well. So, like I said, I don't have a problem with moving on from Robbie at all. I wish him the absolute best wherever he goes if we don't resign him. But, I just want to see how Joe continues to move around and shore up the spots that we need offensively.
Yeah, I mean, all we keep hearing is just draft a player, just draft a player. Guess what? You know what you need to draft a player? You need draft picks. So if you could have got a 3rd-rounder for him or a 4th-rounder for him or whatever it is, you get it. It's better than letting him walk because, Joe, it's this year. Like, we need pieces of the puzzle this year. And we'll break it down tonight because I broke down all the salary caps. I broke down all the money we need, all the money we have to spend, all this stuff. And you know what we need? We need young building blocks for the future. That 4th-round pick could be a Jordan Jenkins, and that could be something else we can use this year. So, to me, Joe Douglas is under the radar with all of this stuff. And this is his first test. Robbie, how does he handle Jamal Adams? All these other guys. So, for me, the franchise tag idea, I hate. I don't want to tag him at $18 million. I think that's insane.
No.
I think it's just ludicrous. And I think knowing what we know now, to me, when they didn't trade him, you kind of thought that, hey, you know what? Maybe we'll find a way to, re-sign him. But you have to, any general manager worth his grain of salt knows that it's going to be expensive. There's not a lot of receivers out there. The young guy on the rise is already wanted. So once he hits the free market, it's free game for everybody. And that's, before we go into team salary caps, the next thing that happened was, Darius Slay is obviously on the trading block, a Pro Bowl corner with the Lions, and all of a sudden, the minute there's rumors that he's on the trade block, everybody's like, we got to trade for him. We got to trade for him. Young Pro Bowl corner, good fit. And my first thing is this, okay, I understand what you're trying to do. You got to give up draft compensation, which we don't have a lot of, and $15 million a year. Not exactly a way to rebuild the team, Joe. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. I saw the same things. People were definitely coming at me. I love Slay. I think he's a great corner. Like you said, a Pro Bowl guy. I mean, I've watched him, there at the Lions. He's been very, very solid. But you're going to have to give up quite a bit of compensation for that dude because that team is doing everything they can not to lose him. And they've been going through this with him for, a little bit of time, trying to find a way to give him more money, the more money that he wants, all these issues. So I don't know if you want to, again, like you said, and we've been kind of talking about this consistently over and over again on our show. It's like, look, we're trying to rebuild this team, and we have limited draft, capital here. We're trying to do whatever we can. The draft is our greatest wealth of talent because it's the cheapest wealth of talent that you can get there. Do you want to keep giving up picks to fill spots? I don't know if especially I think the Lions or the squad is going to want to look for a first-round pick probably in this draft. That's what I would guess that they would want for him, a first-rounder, maybe even more than that. So if that's going to be the price for him, I think that's too rich for us. I don't think we have enough to be asking for something like that. I think that, again, the draft, for me, is going to be huge for rebuilding his football team. That's what we should really be focusing on. And so I'd like to see Joe Douglas show up the spots there and maybe go into free agency, maybe sign a corner here and there, but giving up draft capital plus the $15 million, maybe more, that he might be looking for, I just don't think we're in a position to do that.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. It's like, everybody, it's so funny. Like, during the season, everybody's like, oh, we got to build through the draft. We got to be pragmatic. We got to be realistic. The minute February comes, oh, we got to get this guy. We got to get this guy. Dude, we got to keep in mind what we have. And the problem that we have is that in our own division, we're like the third team in terms of resources. You know who could trade for Slay? The Miami Dolphins, the Buffalo Bills. Like, all these other teams that are much better positioned in terms of cap space and draft allocation. We're just not there. Yeah. So like you said, Joe, for me, it's like, listen, I'd love to have Slay, and we need a corner, no doubt. But we can't give up a second and third round pick and $15 million. We don't have the ability to do it. We're not one player away. Unfortunately, this is the cards that were dealt. So while it's fun to talk about Twitter and chase all the likes and we have to do this, the stuff's just not realistic.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you're right. Another thing I think that would, I'll kind of tackle into this as well is I could see us possibly doing this for a significant offensive piece that would help us. And I've talked about this in the past as well, about us constantly dumping into our defense, how much resources we've poured into this defense for years, draft after draft after draft, free agency, stuff like that, and having our offense be as porous as it's been. We don't have enough weapons around, Sam Darnold. We don't have enough, to really. So if I could see, and I'm just playing devil's advocate here, but I could see us possibly making a move for a significant offensive piece, but maybe trading a draft pick away for a significant offensive piece. But I wouldn't go anywhere near a first or giving up multiple picks after a first round or anything like that. So that's the only way that I could see us making a move and it be a quality move. If it was something to help our offensive line out, if it was a significant piece maybe for wide receiver that really made sense, I could possibly see that. But I wouldn't want to give up a first or anything or a significant cap or anything else like that to make a move for a corner at this point.
Yeah, and like I said, I agree with you. I could not agree with you more because, listen, we recognize it's a need. It's a huge need, especially look at the guys that we're going to cut. But we got to look at the money we're spending and how we're doing it. And it's like, okay, if you just say you want to give Slay that $15-16 million a year, now you have Mosley making 18, you have Slay making that, and then you have Jamal Adams sitting there saying, you know what, I want my $18 million a year. Yep. And on offense, we're bare bones on offense. We just can't do it.
Bare bones. Yeah, I just think that's just too much to be pouring into that. So, like I said, that's the only way that I could see us making a trade and signing a guy to that type of cash, is if it was a significant upgrade offensively, and it didn't mean we'd have to shell out a ton of picks. I could maybe see us kind of, touching that. But giving away that type of cash and then that type of capital for a corner right now, when we are in need in so many other spots, particularly offensive spots, I just don't think it's the right move for us right now. He's a great player, but we're not in the position to do that and make that move.
Yeah, so staying with the corner position, obviously Trumaine Johnson, everybody knows he's going to be cut. We save $3 million there. But an interesting name that comes up is Darryl Roberts, where if you cut him, you save $6 million in cap space. But at the same time, if you cut him, we have nobody, man. We'd have no Trumaine, no Roberts. We're probably going to cut Nate Hairston. Mm-hmm. We have Brian Poole's a free agent. We're basically wiping out our entire secondary. I mean, you have Arthur Millette and Wes Austin, but I mean, dude, we're wiping out everybody.
Yeah.
Do you get rid of Roberts at $6 million?
Yes, I do. He's trash. What do we need him around for? Yeah, we're wiping out our secondary because it needs to be wiped out. There's a lot of guys who need to get the hell out of here. Trumaine is one of them. He needs to be gone. That contract is going to hurt, but we're just going to have to deal with it. Thanks, McCagnon. But Darryl Roberts needs to go, too. Get his fake ass out of here. We need to move on from him. We need to bring in young talent and quarterbacks that's going to be able to come here and flourish. We can't hold on to these guys just because, especially with the way that he was performing. This is the same guy that got cooked against the Bills. This is the same guy that's getting beat by John Brown and Cole Beasley. The same guy. This is the same guy we watched struggle there all season and then had the nerve to talk about fans. That he didn't feel like we're fans enough for the team. Like, come on, man. Get his ass out of here and move on from him. I have no issue getting rid of him whatsoever.
Now, what are your thoughts on Nate Hairston? He only makes $2 million. For a while, I thought he played pretty well, and then it seems like he fell out of favor with Greg Williams, which was interesting. I thought he was. I mean, I forgot what game was. He was terrible. I mean, was it the Giant game? Maybe he was brutal. At $2 million, do you keep him? It was the Giants, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was the game where he had gotten beat, and I think it was another game where he got beat on a play and got benched and didn't play at all for the rest of the game. I don't remember which one that was, but yeah, he's a guy that I would look to bring back. Yeah, he made mistakes here and there, but I mean, he played decently. There was a point in time I remember he came back. Was it the Browns game where I don't think Trumaine played it, but he did, and he was great. And people were like, "Oh, Nate Hairston, blah blah blah," and then all of a sudden, he had the bad game, and then people kind of forgot about him. $2 million to bring him back to be a corner, be within our depth and play there. I have no issues bringing him back at all. Guys like him, Poole as well. I'd also like to see be brought back. So those are two guys I would be interested in, retaining on the roster.
Yeah, and the obvious one, I think Brian Winters, we could all agree that he will be gone. I mean, it is what it is. $7 million, we could save it. So you look at that, you have Trumaine at 3, Brian Winters at 7, Roberts at 6. I think Josh Bellamy is good as gone. He's useless. The one that really boggled my mind and really drove me crazy is, and I'll give credit to Rich Cimini, because Rich Cimini broke it down really well. I really didn't understand Quincy Enunwa's contract. And after reading what the Jets did, I want to go just bitch smack just Mike McCagnon, because the contract is ludicrous. Like they basically do. They just, dude, there's a very good chance they have to keep Quincy Enunwa this year injured and pay him, and they can't cut him, because they cut him, it goes from like a $6 million cap hit to $11 million cap hit. Like if he you can't fail him for a physical. Like dude, it's insane. Like he's guaranteed for injury. And he's freaking injured. Like, look at McCagnon, an often injured guy. A guy that's been always injured. We gave him injury guarantees. We can't even get rid of the guy if we wanted to.
Oh, McCagnon. Man, that dude is a gift that just keeps on giving. You heard?
He's gone, dude. He's gone a year. He's still punishing us. He's still punishing us.
Still, man. Listen, God. He's the guy that was one of the guys that convinced to bring Adam Gase on in. He was in on that.
Lord have mercy.
He got paid big money and had injury guarantees, and the guy is always hurt. That's crazy. This is just like, it's typical McCagnon. Shout out to Prime Time. This is your guy, McCagnon. Put us on Front Street yet again.
Whoever his agent is, you give him he must get just get pat in the back every day. Quincy must thank him up and down every day when he wakes up. Like, dude, thank you, because you can't release failed fit, dude. If you fail for a physical, it's $11 million cap hit. It's like he's got $6 million guaranteed for injury, and he's hurt. So it's gonna be like
he's always hurt.
it's just
he's always.
So now it's like, and then if you cut him for something else, if you say you cut him for like. It's a guaranteed lawsuit, or not? It's going to be a guaranteed dispute between the agent and the player and the team. And what a contract from McCagnon! What a bozo! My goodness! Like we're all assuming like, oh, Quincy's going to be gone. No, Quincy ain't going to be gone. He's going to be sitting right in the roster. He could be injured, and we're paying him, and he's going to be here.
Yeah,
isn't that great?
What a time to be another gem from McCagnon. Another thing to show us how great of a general manager he was. Look, I like I said, and I've said this before. I love Quincy. I think he's one hell of a player when he plays. But that's the problem. He rarely plays, and he's dealing with a big time injury now. In the past he's dealt with big time injuries too. And there was a point. I think it was. After he got hurt, I think it was in that Ravens game or something a couple of years ago. We were wondering if he was ever going to play again. He comes back, he looks like he's decent. He gets hurt this season, spinal stenosis. His, career is still in question. And now, again, we're probably not going to be able to get rid of him because, like you said, the way that contract is set up, it's like, dude, you're just kind of stuck with him. I mean, it is what it is. If you get rid of him, there's major penalties for it. If you cut him, it's just McCagnon, man. I mean, there's just nothing you can say. We're just hamstrings yet again.
Oh, I can say things, but I'll probably get banned.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Yeah, please don't do it. Family show. Come on now.
It's a family show. Family show. I'm well behaved tonight, and now I'll be behaved. I promise.
Go ahead. Let's just move on. It sucks that we have to keep him. Like I said, I'd love to see Quincy out there playing, but we all know that he, his body and the way injuries have just really hit him hard consistently these last couple of years. You can't really depend on him. But we don't have a choice. There's no choice but to keep him on the roster at this point. So it is what it is. Thanks, McCagnon.
Yeah, and then the last point that we'll go over, and then we'll go to all the phone calls is, the last couple of weeks we've talked about the situation the Jets are in terms of the money they have, how they're going to spend it, how many players they need, and the competition that they're going to have for players. And I got blasted, dude. One day I got torn to shreds in my Twitter account. Like, you're so negative. You don't know what you're talking about. Thank God, guys don't listen to you. And all this other great nonsense. Okay, that's fine. Listen, I love hate. It's fine. And then I had, you know what? Let's just break down reality again, Joe. Because the best part of this show is we all have opinions, and we're going to share some of ours. As we go into free agency, the Jets have $50 million in cap space before the moves we just talked about. So say we could add another, say, $15 or $17 million. Say we have $67 million, or say, I'll even give you $70 million. Sounds great, right? Well, yeah, Joe,
sounds good.
The Buffalo Bills, the team with needs and clearly in a better state than the Jets are right now, have $82 million. $82 million. That's more than the Jets. Yeah. The Miami Dolphins, and loaded with all their draft picks, first-round picks, all kinds, they have $89 million in cap space. So guess what? Not only are the Jets competing with the rest of the NFL, the teams within their own division have more resources than they have, and they all need the same kind of players. They're all looking for offensive linemen. They're looking for dude. We're not overreacting or being negative or just trying to bash Gase or whatever. The fact of the matter is, we're not in that great of a position when everybody else has more than we have, and we all have the same needs.
Yeah, we're not in a very great position. You hit the nail on the head. We've talked about this consistently. Hell, if you just outside of just resources and able to build a football team, which we've seen the Bills do already. I remember when we used to laugh at the Bills, and we drafted Josh Allen, and we were still laughing at them, and they were destroying us this year. If they had to put their second or third squad team, in for the last game, we got beat again. We were like a pass interference call away from losing to the Dolphins, and one last game because they were already in the playoffs and getting swept in this division. I don't think people really understand that. And the Dolphins are a rebuilding team. We almost got pretty much swept out of everybody in the division. The Patriots completely destroyed us. So when you look at these teams that have been able to be built, they have better leadership than what we have. The Dolphins look and completely cleared out the issues that they had there, and they moved on. And they're doing their thing up there. They, like you said, they've got cap space. They've got picks. If you look at the Bills, they've got, their quarterback in place. They've got a foundation. They've got a strong head coach as well. They're still going to be searching and finding guys, too. Hell, even the Patriots. I know people are looking at that situation and saying Brady might walk. He might. If he doesn't stay, dude, we've seen the Patriots win without Brady in the past. I mean, they've had guys in and out. That coaching system there is going to continuously put them in a position to be winners. So all that is also going to accumulate to free agents being more attracted to them than us. I think that's another thing that people need to start looking at as well, is that there isn't a lot of players that are going to look at this as a destination to come to because of Adam Gase, because of the issues that we have with players. If you look at Kelechi Osemele, Falk, hell, even Quincy Enunwa, the guy that we just talked about a second ago and his contract issues, they all came out and blasted the way that we handle players. Le'Veon Bell, and I know we're going to talk about some stuff with him as well in this show, but look at the handling of Le'Veon Bell. All this stuff makes us not a very high sought-after destination to come to. So there's going to be issues, man. There's going to be issues. We're in I don't know what year we are in of the rebuild at this point, but we're just not where we should be. We're not. And other teams, I don't know what the hell we've been doing. We've just really been spinning our wheels in it at this point. And, we're going to have issues. And there's a lot of stuff that we have to clear out and clean out. Bad contracts, Jermaine Johnson, even like we just talked about Quincy Enunwa, the issues with his contract too. And we've got to see what Joe Douglas can do to turn it around. But these other teams are much better off as far as resources, and direction as well. These teams have direction. And we, right now, still trying to find our way at certain points. So we've got a lot of things we got to figure out, man. But, yes, we are the teams in our division are much better set up, for a future of success than we are.
Yeah, and this is just reality. And then so we tweet that out, and people are like, oh, we don't all want the same players. Listen, offensive linemen are at a premium. Corners, receivers, everybody wants the same thing. Pass rushers, we're all in the same boat. And you look at the Dolphins, they have a ton of draft picks. Then they have $90 million in cap space. I mean, that's the position you want to be in. That's where we were last year when Bozo the Clown blew it all away and then got fired. So now it's like we got to recover from that. And it's like now the more you think about it, now you know why Joe Douglas wanted a 6-year contract. Because he realized the first 2 years are going to be just cleaning house and overcoming 10 years of being inept. I mean, this is just what it is. And it's like, if I get one more tweet telling me how we're going to sign 3 of the top free agent linemen, it's not happening. We're not getting 3 guys, the top-level guys. 3 of them? Or 2 of them is even stretching it, Joe, because they're going to get $15 or $16 million a year. And when push comes to shove, do you want to play for the Jets or a winning organization? Do you want to play for a competent coach or do you want to play for Gase? I mean, there's so many things that are going to be tough to overcome. And this isn't being negative. This is reality. And once free agency starts, we're all going to realize it. I'm telling you, we've seen this before. We've already been down this path before.
Yeah, and sadly you are speaking the truth. And I'm hoping that, and I've been the guy that's been championing this because our lack of investment into the offensive line over the years has clearly led to the debacle that we saw, this past season where guys were getting blasted and we couldn't get anything moving offensively. But, I would pray that we could sign 3 guys. But, honestly, I think that we could, with the right amount of cash and if Joe Douglas sells this team right, we could, end up with 2 guys. I'd be happy with that. All right, I have no issues. 2 of the top offensive line prospects in free agency, I'm good to go there. But, yeah, like you said, there's just so many issues there, so many holes. And, I mean, even parts that we've invested to haven't paid out, so now we're still filling those holes as well. How long have we been looking for a pass rusher? We got, signed guys here and there. We've drafted guys that just did not work out. I mean, we had all those damn defensive linemen that we kept taking, and guys are washing out left and right, and now we have issues in certain spots there. So it's like, man, we've got to figure this out. And Joe Douglas, he has time, but he's going to be clearing this stuff out for quite a bit.
It's like Groundhog Day. It's like Groundhog Day. We have the same goddamn conversation every year, and it's like you hope there's. It's the truth, and it's like you got to hope there's a blueprint and a rhyme or reason to know what we're doing. I mean, we have hope because there's a very solid front office in place. There's all quality guys. It's their first chance to prove us right or wrong or whatever else. But I think we gotta understand the undertaking this is all going to be, and Joe, the thing is, like, people want to bash Benitez for his articles. So what I do is I look at league resources all across the NFL, guys just innocent NFL analysts and their point of view and what they say about the Jets. And a lot of them are saying the same thing. It's like, do you want to play for Adam Gase? What is his perception across the NFL? Now, as Jet fans, we don't like him. So, you know what? We're biased. We already have that anger. We have all this stuff. These are guys that don't know us. They don't care what the Jets, if they win, lose, or get, folded as a franchise. They don't care. And they're saying it. Do people want to play for Adam Gase? What is your Jets tax? I love when you say it all the time. The Jets have a tax. And it's true. We're going to have to pay more to get players to overcome the stigma of this organization. So when you do that, does it cost us players? What does it do? So, I mean, I don't know. We have cap space. We have a lot of holes, Joe, and my expectations are tempered because I think we may be disappointed in some aspects.
Yeah, I've talked to many people, especially fans that think we're going to sign everybody. But like you said, tempering expectations, seeing who we can get in. I'm just hoping that what he does is address certain needs correctly and then kind of build off of that. If we can get, like I said, 2 offensive linemen, move forward, kind of address other holes as well. I think a big part of Joe Douglas's, full offseason here is going to be how he gets at that second tier of free agency too. How he picks some of those guys that are going to be in that lower tier that are going to come in and be able to give us production. I think that's going to be huge too. But going after every single big name, just trying to get that splash signing, I don't think that's going to work for us at all.
No, so what we'll do is we got a lot of people on hold. We'll go to some phone calls, 929-477-2651. As always, we're on Instagram and Twitter at Talk Jets Radio. We're on Facebook, Talk Jets Radio. We're on YouTube, iTunes, Spreaker. We're pretty much all over the place. I know some of these topics are getting kind of overkill. Some of them are new. Some of them are pissing you off, which is fine because it pisses me off. And the last thing, Joe, I'm sorry. I got one more topic that's just driving me insane. Dude, it's tough in these Twitter streets, man, because these Jet fans, it's so funny because this time last year, I wish I had a quarter for every tweet saying, please get Le'Veon Bell. I wish I had a nickel for every tweet that said, please sign Le'Veon Bell. And then we said, you know what? And so when they signed him, we all used the same caveat. It's going to take time to get him used to our offensive line because he's a patient running back. There's going to be some growing pains. He's got to get acclimated. Little do we know that our offensive line is the worst in football and our coach was a clown. We didn't know that. We said he's going to have it's going to take kicking off some rust and do that. Okay, the season didn't go as planned for a variety of reasons. I don't think you can really blame him for 95% of them. Joe, today I was lectured by about 4 or 5 fans about how bad Le'Veon Bell is. The word was suck, very bad, horrible. And I'm like, wait, the same Le'Veon Bell that we all wanted so badly, the same guy that once he had the ball in space did some things, the same guy that was grossly misused in the passing game. And that, Joe, now there's a portion of this fan base that is bashing Le'Veon Bell, saying he is slow, he's lost his step, good, and he's a waste of a roster spot. Your thoughts?
And like I said, I respect everybody, but, honestly, y'all got some nerve.
What are we doing?
Like, for real. For real.
Unbelievable.
Y'all got some nerve. This is crazy. And I've said this before. For a fan base of a team that has been offensively inept for so long, like, we've been horrific offensively for decades. Our franchise, our offensive franchise records, a lot of them were set by Ryan Fitzpatrick. That's how bad we are. This franchise records that we have that are set by Ryan Fitzpatrick, statistically, the first year he was here was the best offense the Jets have ever had. And though, if you look at those numbers and compare them to a lot of the top teams in the league, that's like a basic year for them. Those numbers were nothing special for a lot of these other teams around the league at all. That's how bad we were offensively. I don't know where some people get this stuff from. You don't talk about lost the step and all that. This dude faced more contact when he got the ball. He was breaking tackles left and right. Anybody who wants to say that he's lost the step, I want you to go back and watch the Browns game. Go back and watch that game. Because that is literally what he was dealing with all season. He broke tackles in that game, literally extended drives, we extended drives using him. The game plan was all about Le'Veon Bell. He was doing everything. There was a point in this year where we were saying, hey, listen, we can't keep giving the guy the ball with guys in his face. We're going to kill him. We can't keep just riding him every single game. We need to give him some help out here. You know, like I said, I try to show respect to everybody, but if you're saying that Le'Veon Bell sucks, dude, you need to go get your head examined, okay? You need to just stop. That guy does not suck. How would you even know what sucks and what doesn't? We haven't had a great offensive weapon in years. You wouldn't know what sucks and what doesn't suck. What the hell are you talking about? He sucks, dude. Dude, he sucks. This dude had Hall of Fame numbers before he got here. He sucks. He is one of the most dynamic running backs in the league. That's one of the reasons why, like you said, dude, we had shows in the offseason. I try to tell people this left and right. This show is recorded, okay? I can go back and listen to y'all literally screaming, if we sign Le'Veon Bell, fire everybody. He is literally an offseason. I remember this. I remember when we signed him and we didn't get any offensive line help, and people were like, who cares? We got Le'Veon Bell. Everything's fine. I'm quoting that. You can go back and listen to those shows, and people were literally saying that. Who cares about who else we didn't sign? We got Le'Veon Bell. We got the biggest prize in the offseason. Ha, ha, ha. We're going to kill the rest of the league. And now, a year after, he sucks. He's lost explosiveness. He's not explosive. What are you talking about? What are you guys talking about? You guys have got to stop. Crazy. Stop making excuses for Adam Gase and his garbage-ass offensive game plans. Stop making excuses for this terrible-ass offensive line. Just stop making excuses. That guy's a player. He can play, period. And I've seen a lot of leaks as well with these other articles. I'm sorry. I know we're going to get to the callers. I'm sorry. But this is pissing me off. But look, I've seen these articles and leaks. It's clear as day what's going on here, okay? We all know that there's a certain person that did not want him, that didn't want him when we signed him, and clearly didn't want him throughout the season as well. We all know what's going on here, and we all know that they tried to trade him as well, and they're going to try to find ways to get rid of him in free agency too. We all know that, okay? So that's coming. So to quiet some people, that's why some people may be saying those things. But to say that this dude is a bad player, and to say that he sucks, and to say that he lacks explosiveness, or that he's gained weight, or any of that other nonsense is crazy. Is crazy. Go ahead,
dude. Dude. I was like sitting there trying to defend them, and I'm like, wait, what am I defending here? I'm like, have we lost our minds? I'm like, all season, like seriously, like, dude, like I'm known to create some chaos, and like I love to argue and debate. And this one, I'm like, you guys are out of your mind. I'm like, this player. I'm like, what about? And I try to use reason first. I'm like, all right, what about the offensive line? Well, they suck. Okay. Well, he was fighting for handoffs with linebackers. I mean, he was like at the snap, the linebacker was already trying to grab the football. That's a problem.
Dude.
So you add in that, then you add in play calling doesn't make any sense. And then I'm like, you know what? Even if you say the running game didn't work and they brought in Powell, they're different running backs altogether, which is a problem with the play calling. Then tell me why they didn't use him in the passing game. Put him in the slot. He would catch a pass for 18 yards. It wouldn't catch a pass the rest of the game as a receiver. Like, all these things, but we got to discount that and say, no, he lost a step. And then it's the best thing. They show one, like, there's how many snaps he plays a game? What, 30 snaps, 40? They'll take, like, 2 snaps. Oh, look at this snap right here, man. You see this? Like, dude, seriously? This is the game we're going to play. We have this much free time. You're going to take out one friggin' YouTube highlight that you probably slowed down and whatever. Like we've gotten to the point as Jets fans, we're now bashing Le'Veon Bell. Like, this is where we're at? Like, Jesus Christ, man.
Listen, there were games where he literally should have had a ridiculous amount of carries. The Bengals game, I think, was a great example of that. He got 10 carries against the worst running defense in the league. That tells you all you need to know about how he was handled here. That tells you all you need to know. We don't need to say nothing else. Look at that, and you can see how he was handled for the rest of the season. He wasn't given a lot of opportunities. Hell, he said it himself. Look, any Jet fan that's bashing Le'Veon Bell after screaming all offseason to get him, I don't know what planet.
So how many times
I really don't. It is
how many times he was carrying a pile?
Oh my God!
He's carrying like 2 or 3. Like, you know what slows him down? Well, if anything, he probably got hurt throughout the season trying to carry 14 linebackers to get that friggin' yard. I mean, come on, seriously, and the whole thing about the report with the team calling, supposedly he gained weight and he got what. Dude, it's so obvious. Like, you're right. That's so the Jets. Gay's trying to leak a story. And I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to build their case so when they do trade him, look, we had all these problems with him. No, you're inept. This is an agenda the narrative and the agenda are obvious. And if you can't see through it, come on.
I just got a question. Okay, if we're saying that he's gained weight, which is completely ridiculous because you can see Le'Veon Bell every day. That's what's so, maybe this would have worked back in '95 when players couldn't pick up their phone and just take videos of themselves working out or anything like that, or just walking around. Maybe that would have worked. If this was 1995, maybe this would have worked. But dude, we see Le'Veon Bell literally every day. Remember when he caught the flu and they were saying they removed him from the facility because not only was he contagious, but he had lost weight. They said he had lost 10+ pounds, and they didn't want him playing with that. And now all of a sudden he's gaining weight and he's slow and what are you talking about? Which one is it? Is he losing? Is he gaining? Which one is it, dude? Where did he gain all this weight from? These reports make it sound like Le'Veon is 350 or something like that. This is crazy. That dude is not out of shape. What is going on around here? These media spins and these leaks, and it is obvious what's going on here. And if you can't see through, the smoke and the nonsense, then that's to each his own. If you choose to believe that nonsense, okay, then fine. But come on now.
Yeah,
come on.
It's ridiculous. Dude,
let's get serious here, guys. Let's get serious.
And like you said, it's you're in 1995, you may get away with this, but this is new age, dude. Where you can get your weight from your freaking watch, for Christ's sakes. I mean,
exactly.
Or they can say, hey, listen, Le'Veon, you know what I mean? Dude, you can get a Fitbit and how much? What? I mean, there's so many ways to manage what's going on here. What are we doing? And if the chance that he did gain a pound or two, they can hey, you're a little bit too heavy. You're dude, it's just, I'm so tired of this.
Maybe they were weighing him when he was carrying all those guys on his back after getting their hands off.
No, Joe, you know what it is?
Maybe he did gain 50 pounds, 60 pounds with all these damn linebackers on his back, a corner or two. That'll definitely tip the scale, right? Come on, man.
No, when they're weighing him, Joe? When he's in the locker room covered in ice and ice bags, from the bumps and bruises from the beating for 4 quarters. So he's got all the bags of ice, and then they weigh him.
Come on, man. This is crazy. Right. This is crazy. Dude, there are people actively bashing Le'Veon. This is crazy.
It's unbelievable.
That sounds completely nonsensical. Unbelievable. I've seen it all, man. I've seen it all. Le'Veon Bell sucks. He's a terrible running back. I've heard it all, man. From a Jets fan with historic garbage ass offense. Oh my goodness,
dude! Listen, at Talk Jets Radio on Twitter, or check out my timeline, TRAUCH21. I was going at it with people. I'm like, oh, this real life? I'm like, oh, because this was. I mean, they're like, and then the best one was one guy said, he said Isaiah Crowell was better. I'm like, the guy that wiped his ass with a football. You talking about that guy was better? I'm like, seriously? I'm like, this is just. We don't deserve good things. We don't deserve good things. We don't. We don't deserve these kind of players.
Kids, say no to drugs. That's what I tell everybody, say no to drugs. I know it's tough, sometimes, but I say no to drugs. If you think that Le'Veon Bell is a bad running back, listen, crack is whack. Okay, don't do it. Don't touch that stuff. Stay on the straight and narrow, man. Just don't do it. That's just completely ridiculous to me. Oh my goodness.
All right. So now we'll go to phone calls. This is a long intro, but we both had a lot of stuff to say. I can't take it anymore. We got another couple weeks of this nonsense. We're going to go to Matt in Brooklyn. Matt, what's up, man?
Hi, how you doing?
Doing pretty good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. First, I want to say I love the show, man. I'm a new listener, man. I'm so happy, man. I could talk Jets throughout the whole year. How y'all guys doing tonight?
Man, we're doing pretty good. There's a lot of hot topics. I guess the first one we'll start with is, what are your thoughts on Le'Veon Bell, man? There's this notion that he was slow, lost a step, gained weight. How would you evaluate him this year?
Listen, I don't care if Le'Veon Bell gains 30 pounds. The man do his own workout in the off season. The time football starts, he's going to be in tip-top shape to rock and roll. It's the off season. Like, what are we talking about right now? It's the off season.
Yeah. I agree, man.
Yeah, it's completely crazy. First off, I want to thank you for calling in, man. I also want to thank you for listening as well. It's crazy to listen to people bash Bell, and I've seen it, but it was just like, man, you have got to be kidding me. I mean, this guy, he's an amazing player. We all were talking about him, especially when we signed him, in free agency, and now people want to bash him. It's completely nuts, man. But I want to get your thoughts on this. When you look at this team, especially offensively, how do you think Joe Douglas should handle and prioritize addressing some of the positions? Are you looking to see him make significant moves in free agency, or do you think that he should go to the draft for most of the moves and maybe kind of span this out to a 1-2 season fix?
Yes, like, with Jets fans, we got to realize this is not going to be fixed in 1 year. This is not Joe Douglas got 1 year to get it done, and if he's not, he's out of here. So we have to all calm down and relax. We just spent the past 7 years with a trash team and with a trash organization. So, with that being said, we could wait another year to really, get the wheels rolling. The first thing we should do is we should not re-sign Robbie Anderson. I repeat, we should not re-sign that bum. I don't care what he did. He's not got 1,000 yards. Huh? Yeah, he's not a bum. He's not a bum, but he's not what we need at all.
Yeah.
At all, he's not what we need.
Not what we need.
Jamison Crowder came in 1 year, and in the first game had 17 receptions? The first game. It was amazing.
But Matt, I think Robbie is what we need, but just not at his price tag. We could use what he is, but not at $15 million a year. I think that's what it's just the price of him. But if this is your take, which I completely respect, then don't you think we should have traded him at the trade deadline?
All the way, I believe that. All the way. Once we seen what Miami did and how Miami just really rebuilt and trade away pieces for draft pick, we should have been not doing the same thing, but at least with certain players, let's get rid of them. Let's get a third round, second round, fourth round. I don't care what it is. Let's get rid of them because we need help and we don't need Robbie Anderson. Like, I like Robbie Anderson. He's okay, but anybody in the draft this year, any wide receiver in the draft this year could do what Robbie Anderson does every Sunday. Every Sunday.
So would you look to sign another free agent wide receiver, or are you primarily going to the draft?
Well, it all depends on what we do in the free agency, because at the end of the day we have so many holes to fill. So me personally, I'm re-signing Jamal Adams. I'm keeping Avery Williams. I say his name wrong, but I'm keeping Williams only because it's a 1 year contract, and if it don't work out, then he's going anyway. So it can't hurt us because we need every spot. We need every position.
So wait, I got a question. You want to re-sign Jamal Adams? What kind? That's going to be a ton of money, man. What kind of deal are you giving him? He's going to want to be top paid safety in the NFL.
I believe that this is a scenario that it's a hard decision, but you have to re-sign him, because if you don't re-sign him and God forbid you trade him, then what are you telling the fans? What are you telling us, the people who watch every Sunday, the people who call in and have socials about?
They don't have to give him a new contract right now. He's still under contract, and they can pick up the 5th-year option. They don't have to do anything right now. He's under contract.
No, I'm glad you said that, because a lot of people saying, "Oh, well, Khalil Mack, when in his 3rd year, he was on the Raiders, and the Raiders have other stars. We don't have nobody else."
It's weak precedent, though. Aaron Donald, too. Every prominent player did not get a new deal after the 3rd year. Every one of them. Nobody got a new deal after the 3rd year.
I get it, but Aaron Donald and Khalil Mack had other stars around them, so therefore it worked out. We don't have nobody. We don't have a soul. We don't have nobody. If we don't
But
get
he's still under contract, though, so what?
I mean, I know you're under contract, but what happens if he holds out? There's more drama. And then Adam Gates is not even a person who can deal with the drama or the headlines because he's so busy getting high and rolling his eyes back around his head that he don't know what to do with his own team.
But listen, if he's under contract and the Jets want to follow the league precedent where you don't give a new contract after the third year and follow what everybody else does, it seems like you'd have support down the NFL. If he says, you know what, I'm going to hold out, then trade him. Would you trade him? Say, if you get a first and a second round pick for him, would you do it?
You see, no, because now you see, just go down to I will have a talk. I will have a talk with Jamal Adams and ask him, are you willing to hold out for another year? Yes or no? And he say no. Then I'm paying this man right now because I need this brother. I need him.
You're gonna let Jamal Adams hold the organization hostage for this contract. This is like a Revis situation.
I'm not going to pay him.
Yeah, and I'm going to stand for him. I see his perspective. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I do understand his perspective. I've had tons of conversations with people as well that think just like him. I can see what he's saying. He's looking at this situation like we always talk about this constantly, how the Jets never keep their own. Never. Even guys, stars that we get, they always end up walking away somehow, getting away from us. If you sign, which arguably may be the face of your franchise, to a deal right now, and you get him under contract, you're saying, hey, look, if you come here and you play hard and you play like a Jet, we'll reward you. We'll keep you on this team. And it also sets a tone in the locker room as well. Look, we're looking to win. We think he's one of the key franchise pieces. We're going to keep him around. Also, on top of that, too, you got to look at this. Yeah, we could wait a year, which I'm in favor of until that fourth year, maybe even after that, depending on how things look. But there's other safeties that are coming up for deals. And one of those, I believe, is Derwin James. Let me tell you something. If you think Eddie Jackson's deal was crazy, wait until you see Derwin James because that deal, he is phenomenal. He is phenomenal. And I think he may set some records as well. He might be the highest paid. So if you, again, when you look at Jamal, he's already talking, listen, I want to be the highest paid safety in the game. You look at Eddie Jackson's deal, yes, it's going to hit, but we can pay that. Wait until you see Derwin James' deal. He's going to want what Derwin James has or better. So if you want to pay when the prices are going up, Kylie's skyrocketing, you can wait and do that. Or we can pay him right now. We'll set the market right now. He'll be the highest paid safety, blah, blah, blah. But next year it'll be somebody else. It won't be us.
And then,
you know what I'm saying? So that's what I see. Is that what you're trying to say? Go ahead.
Yes, then on top of that, it's like, if we do trade him, I don't think we're going to draft another Jamal Adams in the next we so lucked up and got Jamal Adams in the draft. It's amazing. And for us to finally get something right in the draft, we were just going to let that go and not pay this man? After all we've been through throughout the whole entire draft, I can't see. I'm sorry.
But see, a lot of it falls, but a lot of it doesn't fall. Listen, I think the Jets could say, "Listen, we can give you our best offer now because we're not obligated to give you a new contract." But there's no pressure to do it. He could say, "I want a new contract." Yes. Listen, I can go to work tomorrow and say, "Hey, I want a pay raise," and they're going to say, "No." Okay. Then if he says, "Well, I'm going to hold out and be a distraction and do all this stuff," that's on him. But then at some point, the Jets can make their own decision and say, "Listen." We will have to evaluate what our options are. We went through the same thing with Revis, and it's not like he's like he's got 1 year left on his deal. It's a different situation. And at the same time, you got to look at, listen, we want to pay you your $18 million this year, but if you want the dogs around you, the guys that you want around you, we need to use that money elsewhere right now to build this team up. I mean, it's a two-way street here.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. I'm just saying they have to talk to Jamal Adams, so therefore there's no bad blood because I don't want him holding out, and I don't want all that distraction and all that with our best player going on. And that's not going to send a clear message going forward if we're trying to rebuild or trying to either get players over here. So, I mean, I definitely understand. I just want Jamal Adams to be happy.
We all want to keep him, man. Listen, we're all Jamal Adams fans. He's a face of the franchise, he's all this, but we're also in a situation in certain scenarios where it's like, all right, how do we get around this? And the one benefit the Jets have, the one positive of being a lousy team, they don't have any guys they have to re-sign other than Jamal. I mean, it's like Sam Darnold's coming up. I mean, they don't have. But I mean, it's not like we have a litany of players. Like you look at some of these other teams where it's like they have so many stars or so many quality players they can't keep them all. We don't have that problem here. We don't have that problem at all.
That's very true.
What a great position. What a great position to be in. We're so trash. We don't have to worry about those issues. We're trash.
We can pay Sam whatever he wants. Doesn't make a difference.
Yeah.
I mean,
give him everything. Who cares? Ain't nobody else we got to worry about. All these guys are garbage.
I mean, if we get a decent line, and like, I'm always down for the Jets, man. I believe, man, if Joe Douglas does this right, then we could be a whole lot better. Even if we don't make the playoffs this year coming up, we could be a whole lot better. And if we not, then Adam Gase should be going, and we should be selling this to players too. This is a 1-year deal. If Adam Gase don't get it done this year, which I don't think he should be going by week 8, should be going.
Oh, we'll see, man. Matt, thanks for calling in, man. We appreciate it.
Man, thank you, man. Thank you. Have a great night, y'all.
You too. You know, Joe, that was the one thing, like I said, our Twitter account's been just a dumpster fire for like 3 days now with just chaos and hot takes and whatever other stuff's going on. But it was like, we got to worry about our cap space. What exactly are we worrying about? Like, we don't have, even if when Marcus May is due for a new contract, he's not going to break the bank. It's Jamal Adams and Sam Darnold, and that's it. There's no, who else on this team? That just shows you the state of our friggin' roster, man. It's like, we don't have any pressing contract issues because we had no friggin' players.
Oh, man. First off, I was going to say the last caller for calling in, he was phenomenal.
My God.
Man, it's so depressing to sit there and be like, man,
it's comical.
Who cares? Like, we don't have anybody. These guys are so trash. It's all right, man. It's okay. Like, we don't have to worry about that situation. Let's just pay these guys whatever. It doesn't matter. Who cares?
Oh, my God.
It's crazy, man. It's completely crazy.
We're going to go to Sean in Cleveland. Sean, what's up, man?
Hey, what's going on, fellas? I'm a first-time caller, a long-time listener, man.
So how are you a Jets fan in Cleveland?
Bro, that's what I'm asking myself that every single day. I'm asking myself that every single day. Like, I was a big Curtis Martin fan, and once man, I just always loved the way he played, and I just stuck with the team. I don't know why I stuck with the team, but I just did.
Yeah.
And mind you, man,
it's
hit right bottom, man, when the Browns are better than us, man.
Ooh. Well,
it's rough, man. Listen, man. Dude, I go to work every single day. Every single day I have to deal with Browns fans. Rabid fan base. I have to deal with these guys every single day. They had the worst year last year, and they're still going at me, man.
Well, they completely they spit the bit last year. They completely underachieved and hired a completely wrong coach that we all knew about. So now you look at this Jets team, man. What are your expectations?
I couldn't do.
That's just Browns fans, man.
They were coming
when you look at this Jets team, man, what are your expectations for free agency? Especially when you see that both the Bills and Dolphins have actually more cap space than the Jets.
I honestly believe in Joe Douglas, man. He's you got to look at where he comes from, man. He comes from the Ravens organization and the Philadelphia Eagles organization. And I don't think we're going to make those big splash moves, man. I think we're just going to go and try to go into the bargain bin, man, and just try to draft and develop our players. But the one thing about development is I look at our head coach with Adam Gase. It's just like, man, like I look at what he did in Denver and what he did in Chicago. It's just like he's never developed any talent. So even though I trust Joe Douglas, it's just like I don't trust Adam Gase to be able to develop talent. I mean, he's an okay X's and O's guy, scheme wise, but player development I think is what's lacking. And until they start developing players, we won't get any better, man.
Well, I mean, if you look at you can make a case that Robbie Anderson got better as the season went along, especially after Adam Gase kind of criticized him and said he didn't fight for football, he didn't do this. Like he definitely got better. He emerged. Him and Sam have chemistry. Are you about bringing him back? And if not bringing him back, then why didn't they trade him at the trade deadline?
No, I don't. I wouldn't bring back Robbie for the price. If he's asking for $14-15 million, I wouldn't do it. I would go out and get a guy like Brashard Perryman. Brashard Perryman is basically the same player, and I've seen even with his time in Cleveland when he's gotten the opportunity to kind of show what he's made of. He's actually produced pretty well, and I don't think he's gonna ask for $14 or $15 million. So I would actually let Robbie walk and bring in a guy like Perryman. And Robbie does that every single year. He's a slow starter. I mean, he's done it for the past 2 or 3 seasons where, I don't know if he's out of shape in the beginning of the season, but he never really hits his stride until the end of the season. It's just like,
they had to deal with Trevor Siemian and Luke Falk and all the, it wasn't the quarterback situation was ideal either. But so then if you let him walk and you bring in a Perryman, do you look to go receiver high in the draft? Like, do you hope to get like a Judy or a CeeDee Lamb, you got to get some kind of like talent around at the wide receiver position.
What I would do is I would just go. You have to attack free agency smart, right? So I would try to find offensive linemen first. I would stay away from Sheriff. I would stay away from guys like Conklin, right? Because those are guys, first day guys. You don't want to continue to keep dishing out that money on the first day. You want to kind of be smart with the moves and kind of sign guys who fit your system. I don't know what system that is. Joe Douglas actually probably knows better than I do. But you want to go with fit rather than splash. So I know there's a couple guys out there. I mean, I know the guy, the guard from the Patriots. I think it's 62. I forget his name. Joe something. Yeah, Thuney.
Yeah.
And then you got the center out in with the Broncos, McGovern. He's actually pretty solid too. It's guys that's out there that you don't have to go and spend top-notch dollar on. You can kind of just put them in, plug and play, and they can actually kind of just go with Sam.
So if you do that, would you bring back Beachum at left tackle? I mean, how do you handle left tackle then?
I would bring back Beachum. I would bring back Beachum and have him play either left or right. I would, if we get the players that we want, I would actually in the draft, I would go draft a receiver. I'm hoping that we can just attack free agency for our offensive line. I mean, it's going to be tough to do, but I think if you're very, very smart about it, you grab the right pieces, you can actually build a nice foundation. And it's not that hard. I think people kind of make it a lot harder than what it is. So I think if we go out and we spend big money on these free agents, like Sheriff, we're gonna set ourselves right back in the big hole. You got to be smart about how you spend the money.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. I think a lot of these big names, I think we're not going to get because the money's going to get too high, and they're going to go to a team with a winning background. So I think Joe Douglas is going to be under pressure to find these diamonds in the rough, find guys that can contribute, and then it's going to be up to Adam Gase to make these guys play as a cohesive unit and not like a bunch of misfits, which is a whole different story.
Right.
But so you look at that. Good.
Yeah. I just look at his, the moves that he made since he's been here. I mean, he picked up Alex Lewis. Alex Lewis pretty solid. Not saying he's a world beater or anything, but imagine if we didn't pick up the guys that we picked up last season. We would have been even worse than we already were. Yeah, but we needed a guy like Ryan Khalil to kind of show guys the game. I mean,
what the hell did he show us? He showed us how to get the quarterback killed. Jonathan Harrison was a better player.
But yeah, but it's I'm not talking about like how his play is on the field. Jonathan Harrison is a young player, so you have to bring in a guy like that who's going to show him how to be a professional, what to look for, what to check. So I think Jonathan Harrison played his best season since he's been here. So I think that's all attest to him bringing in Khalil.
Oh, I could not disagree more with that. I think the Khalil move was a complete fiasco, a complete disaster.
Oh yeah. Did I agree with it?
$8 million thrown to the winds.
Yeah, I know. I thought I didn't agree with it, but I just look at when you bring in guys like that and you see the backup who is playing a lot better. I think that's why I think it was actually kind of a good pickup in a way because maybe he learned something that he didn't already know.
Yeah, I don't know. Sean, thanks so much for calling, man. We appreciate it.
Oh, no problem, man.
Have a good night. All right, I am currently flying solo. Mr. Long Beach Joe is actually tending to his responsibilities as a fireman, so you're getting me, which is probably going to disappoint a lot of people, and that's fine, because I'm used to fighting with people, so it's completely cool. We'll go to Mr. NYSF Magazine. Jay, what's up, man?
I'll co-host with you, bro. Let's do this. So I was laughing, man, because
good.
I was laughing because I've been getting some of the same stuff on Twitter you have. And you know what's really funny to me, man, is, like, you know, all those people saying that Le'Veon Bell sucks. I saw you battling with that, and it's just crazy, man. It's like, you know, you look at Le'Veon Bell's history, and you look at what he's done every year that he's been a professional football player until he got linked up with Adam Gase, right? And the guy just put up Hall of Fame numbers year after year after year after year. And he's not some washed-up old scrub, man. He was 27. He just turned 28. Like, he's got years of his prime still left. But then those same people who are calling him a scrub, and I'm not trying to knock Robbie Anderson at all, but I just want to point something out real quick. Like, and it ties in both conversations you were having tonight. Not just the Le'Veon Bell sucking thing, but also should the Jets have traded Robbie Anderson if they weren't going to even make an effort to re-sign him? Robbie Anderson, after the trade deadline, there were 9 games after the trade deadline. And in 6 of those games, right, 6, he did absolutely nothing. 6 out of those 9. You look at his stats from the Jacksonville game, the Miami game, the Giants game, the Redskins game. I'm sorry, the Jacksonville game was right before the deadline. So you look at the Miami game, the Giants game, the Redskins game, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, and Buffalo. In those 6 games, total, he had 14 catches for 166 yards, right? So, like, the same people who are saying that Le'Veon Bell sucks are saying you have to re-sign Robbie Anderson for $16 million, and I don't understand how you can have it both ways. My point is, you know, both of these guys way underperformed because of the terrible offensive coaching that was going on in that team, because of the terrible system they were in. We had Robbie Anderson the last game of the year against Buffalo lined up against a freaking wide receiver and caught one catch. One catch. And it's not because Robbie Anderson's a scrub. So before you look at its stats and pointing out stats as to why Le'Veon Bell sucks, let's factor in what's really going on over there, man. If Robbie Anderson can only catch one pass against a wide receiver for an entire game, right? And you're going to say that you got to re-sign that guy for $15 million and then say that Le'Veon sucks. I mean, I just Jets Twitter, man, they lost their minds recently. Some of those people, I can't.
Dude,
it's
insane. It's like they said, oh, they didn't use Robbie right. Well, they didn't use Le'Veon right. Like, you're right. It's like what are we talking about here? Like how in the hell did we get to the point that we're disparaging Le'Veon Bell? Like, dude, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, dude, what world do we live in? Like, if we don't deserve good things. And then the whole Robbie Anderson thing to me is becoming fascinating, because now it seems like once everybody sees his price tag, got to get rid of him. Which I'm like, listen, that's the approach you want to take. I understand it, but then it's like, why did we keep him? We should have traded him.
I know.
Because we know what the market is. Like, the market's not catching anybody by surprise. Any team that has any kind of common sense knows that in free agent class. And how we know that? You can Google the freaking information. Who's an upcoming free agent? Okay, here's your names. Like, you can predict what's going to happen. So when they made the decision to keep him, what are they going to say? The offer wasn't high enough? Okay, what was it? A 3rd-round pick, a 4th-round pick? Is that better than nothing?
Right. Well, that's my point. It drives me absolutely insane when my teams do this. I'll give you a good example, just to as a Mets fan. You know, the Mets did the exact same thing with Jose Reyes. Right? They were thinking about trading him the trade deadline. They refused to trade him. They let him stay on the team. And then after the season was over, they let him walk for nothing, and he went to the Marlins. Right? So It's typical of my teams. Listen, if you have a guy who's in the final year of his contract, and you go to the trade deadline, and clearly the Jets were completely out of the season, right? There was no point in keeping him around if you weren't even going to make an effort to re-sign him. You knew come on, these guys are professional general managers. You know you can look at who's going to be a free agent after the season and get a pretty good idea of what it's going to take to re-sign him. If you have no, interest in re-signing him at that price, I don't care what you got offered. If you got a 6th-round pick offered, you might as well trade him. Because what exactly did it help Sam going down the stretch, having Robbie Anderson? He had 3 good games in a row. He had those 3 really good games, and yeah, he helped during those games. Did it really make any significant hindrance to Sam Darnold or to anything that was going to happen the rest of the season? You know, to if you didn't have Robbie Anderson around, like I said, 6 out of those 9 games he was a complete no-show. 166 yards in 6 games. That average was like 25 yards a game, less than that. 14 catches in 6 games, 2 catches for 20 yards. We couldn't find anybody that was going to do that, and I'm not blaming Robbie. I'm certainly not blaming Robbie. Robbie is a talented dude, and that's why he's going to get $15 million, because some team's going to get him and know how to use that skill set that he has so that he doesn't put up another 750-yard campaign, 52 catches. I guarantee you wherever he goes, he's gonna have a big year. But we have this clown coach. We might as well not re-sign him for $15 million. That's why I just hate having this guy around, Ty. You know my feelings on it. I don't need to reiterate, but it's just crazy.
Yeah, I mean, but now I'm trying to assess the way Joe Douglas is going to have his blueprint and his plan. It's like, all right, we still have another month to go, so we can't criticize him too much. But then it's like, all right, like I don't really understand their stance there. If they're going to let him walk and not get anything for him, and now the new topic obviously is, yeah, it's ridiculous. And then now you look at it now, a lot of players are now available for trade. Obviously, the biggest one is Slay, a Pro Bowl cornerback. But the problem I have is the Jets are not in a position to make any trades because the fact is they don't have all these extra draft picks, and they can't. You want to give up $15 million and a third and a fourth round pick for a player? We're not in a position to do that.
No way. Can't do that for any one player. It's the same thing I was saying last week. You can't even give up. Like, look at what's his name? Who was that offensive lineman signed this week for 3 years, $45 million? The guy from the Redskins, right?
Humphries.
I forget his name.
Yeah,
Humphries. Yeah. So that guy is getting $15 million a year. Do you know how expensive it's going to be to get Thuney here? It's going to be. I'm not even kidding. I wouldn't be shocked if he gets $20 million a year. You're going to pay Thuney $20 million? You can't do it. The Jets cannot do it. And you got all these people out there. Again, I keep calling out Jets Twitter, but you got all these people on Jets Twitter like, don't worry, Joe Douglas is going to rebuild the entire offensive line. He's going to sign the top 2 guys. And, dude, you hit the nail on the head. Why would that guy come here when he could get the same amount of money to go to Buffalo or go to Miami?
Yep.
Those teams have a good coach in place. They have assets. They have money. They have more money than us. Buffalo was just in the playoffs this year. The Jets, what is the selling point? If you're Joe Douglas, how do you pitch a free agent? I'm really curious. Like, I want to know the sales pitch. What are you pitching? You're like, oh, don't worry, we have Adam Gase here. He's a young. No, he's not. People you can ask around the league. So, what? Sam Darnold's been here for 2 years, and the team can't get out of his own way anyway. This is year 3, so we were a much better pitch last year than we are this year. That's for sure. To free agents. I mean, we were able to get Le'Veon last year. We had to overpay to get him. We were able to get, Mosley, but we had to overpay to get him. But there was, a lot of optimism around here. I don't see the optimism. And so what exactly is the sales pitch to bring a free agent in here? I think the Jet fans got to get really, really seriously in their brains, get it etched in there that we're going to be hitting those second and third tier free agents. I think that's where Joe Douglas is going to have to make his, is going to have to make this offseason work. Is going after those second and third tier guys, finding some diamonds in the rough, building some depth, and knocking the draft out of the park. It's the only chance we have because we don't have enough money to throw $20 million at any one player. We don't have $15 million to throw at Darius Slay and include draft picks. We can't do it. We have too many holes. And then there's people that are downplaying the amount of holes that we have, and I just think it's ludicrous. We have nothing in any premium position except for Sam Darnold. Nothing.
It's true. So, well, and the best thing is, and what they want to do is cut more players. And I keep saying it, and I don't mean to repeat myself over and over, but it's like, you have $50 million. People are like, oh, we're going to have $70 million. You know how you get that $70 million? You cut 6 more players. So not only do you have 22 free agents, now you have 28 players. Like, dude, it's just basic math. Like, everybody you cut, you got to replace. And you want to have premium players, and dude, it's crazy. And Joe, you touched on it. It's like, this isn't being a negative, just a down in the dumps fan. It's called reality, and the reality is when you look across the league, how do people What is the perception about the Jets? What is the perception about ownership? Is Woody Johnson coming back? Is he not? What is Chris Johnson doing? What is the coach? A lot of people don't like the coach. He alienates players. The facility, top notch. Is a team a winning organization? No, they're 7-9. They weren't. They haven't been to playoffs in 10 years. There's a lot of things going against the Jets. So Joe Douglas, and then you said, what's your sales pitch? It's Jamal Adams and Sam Darnold. That is it. So then it's like, we got to overpay. And you made my point for me already. What did they do last year? They overpaid for Bell. They overpaid for Mosley. They were going to overpay for Anthony Barr. I think they were going to overpay for anybody just to get guys in here. Because you can't sell this team. You can't.
Well, and the really sad part about it is, like, part of me thinks that, and this is part of the problem. Part of me thinks that they might have held on to Robbie Anderson, thinking that they had an easy schedule the rest of the way, and with fan sentiment and people wanting Gase out of here, and they were going to have to win some games down the stretch, or things were going to get really ugly around here. I hate to think that they held on to Robbie for that purpose, but I can't imagine any other reason why you would keep him, knowing what it was going to cost to keep him around here and not even be a player in that market, right? Like, trade him. If you're at the trade deadline and you're whatever their ridiculous record was at the trade deadline, like, everybody should have been in play at that point. Look at what these hockey teams are doing. Look at what baseball teams do. When you're out of it, you trade your best pitcher, and like that's, you never want to trade that guy, but the only way to restock and to fix your roster is to get young and pick up additional draft assets, and that the best teams in the league do it. The best teams in the league draft players. You look at the Chiefs. You look at teams like that. They do it through the draft, and this roster is so barren. Like, you get guys in free agency, you have to overpay. We got to draft. It's going to take years. That's why I was so broken last year. It was like, damn, we thought we had all this optimism here. We were pitched all this optimism, and now we just have the second year of Adam Gase is basically a lame duck year as far as I'm concerned, because he's got to prove himself or he's going to be gone. And then what do you have? You have absolutely, positively nothing, and this roster is just barren. And good luck getting a free agent to buy into it.
And the best thing is, it's crazy because people are like, oh, you know what? We can make all these changes. Like, dude, you want to replace 4/5 of your offensive line. You want to add in 3 new corners, 2 new receivers. You can't buy a winning season.
We need an edge rusher,
that much to change, dude. But that much change never works out. You want to overhaul all these parts and say, let's learn how to play together as a team within 3 months with limited practices, and it's just not. You could see it. It's not a 1-year fix. It's going to take 2 to 3 years to do this.
Look what the Browns did. I mean, a perfect example is the Cleveland Browns, right? So they stocked their roster through free agency and trades and Odell and Sheldon and all these guys, right? And people were predicting them to go to the Super Bowl, right? I mean, you start changing over that much of your roster that fast, there's no chemistry. Teams never play together. And you better have one hell of a coaching staff, which the Browns don't have, and the Jets certainly don't have, or it just doesn't work out. You have no chance. And you think you're going to turn over? There could legitimately be, on a 53-man roster. I mean, if you look at the Jets roster, there could be 23 new guys this year, something like 25 new guys. If you really scan up and down the roster, and I don't know how you bring in that many new guys. You draft and free agency and undrafted free agents and whatever, but there could be upwards of over 20 new players on the team next year. But there's people out there like, oh, the Jets are going to be better. They're going to go 10-10. How do you don't even know who's on the team? For all intents and purposes, this is an expansion team at this point. It's crazy to say. I mean, you have Sam Darnold, so not really, but the rest of the roster, it's a freaking expansion team. That's how barren this roster is. And I had this guy on my Twitter today talking about, oh, you're being dramatic. It's the team, they're fine. They just all they gotta do is get a couple offensive linemen and a wide receiver. Like, huh? They literally have no quarterbacks on the whole roster. Not one. I mean, bless Austin. The guy who's played 76 games as a pro. That's all you have. A guy with an injury history. The guy's got 16 repaired shoulder, whatever he's got. If Mike McCagnon had him, he'd give him a freaking 10-year extension with injury guarantees in it.
Unbelievable. Jay, good stuff as always,
crazy,
man. Give out all the information about NYSF Magazine.
Yeah, we're working on the next issue. The February issue is out there all over the place. Fun stuff about the New York Guardians who got their clocks clean this week. I got another team show up for a big game against a rival and completely no show. So that's that's a little bit of the nice shiny new thing. Kind of wore off a little bit this week, but I'm still excited about the Guardians. Still, hopefully they'll be able to pick it up from that. And yeah, just spring training starting up. I'm heading to Mets. Oh, you'll like this time. I'm heading to Mets Astros on Monday in West Palm over here to go troll the ever-living crap out of the Astros. So I'll try to get some videos of just calling them cheaters, and maybe we'll fly a plane over the fielders. He'd probably let us fly a plane over spring training.
Oh, God. Thanks for calling in, man.
All right, man. Have a good night.
NYSFMag.com, and now we're going to go with my good friend Joe is back. Joe, I've been lighting fires while you were around. Dude, you're putting out fires. I'm lighting them, man. Don't worry.
Well, first off, I heard the end of Jay's call. Shout out to him. I want to thank him for calling in, man. I could imagine the mayhem that you're causing when I'm not on here, man, But I'm definitely going to listen back, But, again, everybody, at TRouse21, if you have any issues with what he said, please do not direct that towards me. I wasn't even around.
When the cat's away, the mice will play.
That's big facts. That's big facts right there.
We're going to go to Steve in Albany. Steve, what's up, man?
What's going on, guys? Not much, man. How you guys doing?
Not too bad, man. Trying to endure another off-season here, or at least waiting for free agency, which is painful. What's on your mind?
Oh, this is the worst time in sports. The worst time. It takes forever to get there.
What are your thoughts on Robbie Anderson, man? They'll report that they're not going to re-sign him, and I can make a very good case he should have traded him at the trade deadline. What are your thoughts about how the Jets are handling him?
I totally agree. I don't know why we dangled him at the trade line just to let him hit free agency. It doesn't really make any sense to me. I think he's a good player, but for the amount of money that he's going to want, I have a hard time paying him that. I just don't see the production for $14, $15 million a year. It's tough to weaken the wide receiver room because we've just done a horrible job of building around Sam, but I got to let him walk at that kind of money. He should have been traded for that fourth rounder at the deadline, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, and I want to thank you for calling in. I'm right there with you. I was thinking we should have traded his ass a year ago when the Eagles were offering, I think it was a third rounder or something like that. We should have got rid of him then because, dude, $15 million for him it's way too much. I mean, he's a solid guy. We all like him as a wide receiver, but for what he can do, man, we can go in the draft and get that. So there's no need to pay him that type of money. He's not a number one, especially with the other holes that we have. But, man, I want to talk to you about what seems to be like some issues with Le'Veon Bell and this football team. What are your thoughts about these reports that are surfacing now that the team thinks he, gained weight and was slow and lacked explosiveness?
That dude is the best player we've had in God knows how long. Leave that man alone. Like, what? I don't understand it. The guy has no offensive line. He can't even get the ball before he's got somebody in his face. And he's been nothing but a world-class teammate since he's been here through that god-awful season. And it just seems like every month the front office is taking digs at the guy. Fans are like, oh, he's slow, he's fat. It's like, you could put Ezekiel Elliott behind that offensive line, and he might be a little bit better, but it's not like he's going to go off for, 1,300 yards. What's the guy supposed to do?
Yeah, I completely agree. It's mind-blowing. It's like we watch the season play out. We watch the horrific offense and all the problems we have, and now we're passing blame to him. It gives me a headache. I can't even fathom the conversation. But then you look at free agency. Everybody's excited, and everybody wants to say the Jets are going to have $70 million in cap space. But then you see the Bills with $82 million, the Dolphins with $89 million before they make their moves. What are your concerns about us getting the players that we want when we're competing with other teams that can offer a better situation?
Yeah, I think the only way we're going to land top-tier talent is we're going to have to overpay. And if we want Joe Thuney, which I would love to have him, but we're going to have to make that dude the highest-paid offensive lineman in the league. I mean, realistically, maybe he's earned it, but for us, I don't know. I'm much more interested in hitting, like, the Graham Glasgow, Connor McGovern, like, maybe the next tier. You know, Glasgow's somebody that he's stayed relatively healthy his career, and he can play center and guard as well. That's somebody I'd be really interested in. McGovern, I think he could be had for cheaper, but I think it's a pipe dream thinking that we're going to land Joe Thuney and Brandon Scherf and some of the other nonsense I've seen on Twitter. I mean, that's going to be tough, and especially competing with Miami. Like, I'm not as worried about Buffalo as I am Miami. I think Miami with the draft picks and the head coach they just got, who, I mean, those guys played out for Flores. It seems like he's got control of that locker room. That's going to be, I mean, if I can live in Miami or I can live in New York, I'm going to go live in Miami. I mean, we're in for a rude awakening, I think, when free agency actually starts.
Yeah, we are, and that's why I keep telling people, hey, you might need to take your expectations. I know a lot of people are really, I mean, early we were talking to different people. You know, Tyson can tell you as well on Twitter, people, Amari Cooper, this guy, that guy, this guy, sign them all. And it was like, dude, we don't have enough money to do that, you know, let alone keep some of the guys that we also need to re-sign as well. So that's just not something I think we should be interested in. We should try to, like you said, you know, we should get maybe one or two of the top guys, but then also try to, you know, get that second tier of free agents as well. Go ahead and, you know, like you said, the Glasgow, the other guys, really get them in here to bring that production. But I want to get your thoughts on this, man. How confident are you in Joe Douglas to address some of these needs, and what do you think is the number one need that he needs to address in this offseason?
It's tough to, you know, I don't want to say that I'm super confident in him because I was super confident in Mike McCagnon, and we don't even know if that guy's still alive. I mean, nobody's heard from him since he destroyed our franchise. So, I mean, for all we know, that dude's like blackout drunk behind a Boston market right now. But I would say that the biggest need has to be building around Sam Darnold. We have done a terrible job of protecting him and giving him weapons. I mean, we have to add at least one like top tier offensive lineman if we can, and like you said, and then really try to hit some home runs in the lower tier. But I think the majority of this is going to be through the draft, and that's just such a crapshoot. I'm nervous for this off season. I mean, I'm excited, but at the same time, this is going to be a big off season for this franchise, because if this doesn't go well, that Gase is probably gone, and then we've got Darnold learning his fourth offense in 5 years, and that didn't work out for Marcus Mariota, and it's a big worry.
Steve, thank you so much for calling in, man. Excellent call. We appreciate it.
Oh, I got one more thing, though. One more thing, quick. Jets got to trade Jamal Adams. Not a super popular opinion, but we have no business making a strong safety the highest paid player at his position when we can't even put an adequate offensive lineman in front of our quarterback that we traded a first-rounder and 3 second-round picks for.
So what is the least you would take for trade Jamal Adams? What was the lowest offer you would take?
I think we can get a first for him. I don't know if we're going to get much more than that, but I would probably... He's going to want $17 million from what I've been reading, $17 to $18 million. Yep. I mean, that's more than like DeAndre Hopkins is making, like Evans. You know, yeah. I mean, I'm looking at it on Over the Cap right now, and Mike Evans is only making $16.5. DeAndre Hopkins $16.2. Adam Thielen $16.2. Devontae Adams is only making $14.5. We cannot pay a strong safety that much money. I would probably need at least a first from him. I think we could get 17 from Dallas, and then we hit the draft and hope that we get one of the 4 offensive tackles at 11, and then maybe at number 17 you take T. Higgins, Henry Ruggs if he's there.
You just take one pick? Just one first-round pick? That's it for Jamal Adams?
My preference would be for my trade preference would be 17 and 82 from Dallas, the first and their third. Gives us 3 third-round picks as well as 2 ones and then a second. And with how deep this draft is at the offensive line, edge, and wide receiver, this draft, if done properly with the extra ammunition, could go a long way towards putting us on the right track, in my opinion. I mean, you're talking in the first round, you could get Henry Ruggs at 17 and Wirfs or Thomas, are more likely to be there now that DJ Humphries just got that monster contract from the Cardinals. Yep. I mean, you got to think that takes Humphries off, or you got to think that takes offensive tackle off the board at number 9, which sucks because they're probably going to go CeeDee Lamb, but we need an offensive tackle more than we need a wide receiver. I mean, if Sam Darnold can't sit in the pocket and throw, it doesn't matter who we got out there.
That's a hot take to end your call, man. Thank you for calling. We appreciate it.
Awesome, guys. Have a good one.
You too. That was an interesting take there, Joe. He would take a first and third to trade Jamal. I mean, you can understand it. I mean, at this point, you can understand it, especially if they don't want to pay him this year, and he says, "I want money this year," which could very well happen. I mean, you can see it happen. I mean, you could see that debate happening.
Absolutely, and I want to thank the last caller for calling in. He did. He came in. He left on fire. You know what I'm saying? And I see his take. I know a lot of people are looking at it like, hey, he might be crazy, but if you can get a first and a third and not have to deal with the contract issues because we're not in a place to be able to do that right now and move on and also address other needs across this team, I could see that being done, man.
All right, busy phone lines. We will stay on. We're going to go to Dan in Howard Beach. What's up, Dan?
Gentlemen, what's going on?
You tell us, man. What's going on?
The reason why I'm calling you is for some therapeutic help, not for nothing. This time of the year, my head starts going too positive with the Jets, and it goes a little crazy. It goes like a little something
too
like
positive?
That.
You called the right place.
Perfect. See, at this time of the year, I go through something called the Arnold Schwarzenegger diet, where you work out, and then after you work out, you go to the backyard and you smoke some haze, and then you start thinking maybe positive things, maybe, and then when you're in this cloud, you start thinking, damn, maybe Gase was having those gazing eyes because maybe he just had it all figured out. Maybe he's like, you know what? Maybe in the second year, he's just going to put it all together. And then I start thinking, I'm like, whoa. I've been through this path before. I got to call my friend Joe. He's got to put my ass back in gear. Joe, help a brother out.
Hey, man, listen, first off, I want to thank you for calling in, Dan. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you're smoking, put it down, all right? We already talked about it. Just put it down. Thank you. Give me my I haven't heard that in a minute.
I'm up there. I'm reading the intro backwards.
Yeah, that's the theme of reality coming. You know what I'm saying? When you hear that's reality coming. Look, just put that down for right now. You know what I'm saying? I understand.
Okay.
But put that away.
I hate it.
Okay. And let's come back down to reality.
Let's do it. Yeah, I'm there.
It's time to descend. Okay, it's time to descend now. Get back down here.
It's a hard fall, man. It's a hard fall, dude.
It is. There's a lot of issues with this football team. There's quite
a lot.
Okay, so before we start talking about Adam Gase, who we saw that we saw him throughout this year. We've seen that he's the same damn coach pretty much that we saw in Miami. The offensive game plan was ass. There's a ton of issues. We saw that he still doesn't understand how to utilize offensive weapons, which also makes you wonder about the future of this football team, because if you can't utilize Le'Veon Bell, which is about as close to the finished product as you're going to get, right? He's like one of the best in the league. If you can't figure out how to utilize his offensive skill set, what does that say about your ability to utilize a young kid's offensive skill set? One of these kids we're going to get out of the draft. Why should I believe, since you can't utilize Le'Veon Bell and all the things that he can do, why should I believe that you'll be able to groom, mature, and get the best out of a young kid which hasn't really figured out where he is in the league or what he's supposed to be doing? So that's just a little tidbit right there, that we're going to talk about as well. But I want to talk to you about the building of this team, because that's going to be one of the things that we have to look at. Adam Gase, we know he's ass. Let's move on from him. Let's talk about Joe Douglas and what he needs to do and the holes that he needs to fill here. And I want to start off where we kind of left off with the last caller, and it's the Jamal issue, the Jamal Adams, contract issue. Because how he deals with that, how he handles it, could really have big impact on this football team. And I want to get your thoughts on this. What are you doing with Jamal Adams if you're Joe Douglas? Are you giving him the big deal this year, or are you waiting for the future? And if he does press you about getting the big deal, would you be willing to trade him to, keep the circus out of your backyard?
Great question. See, the thing is, sometimes, a lot of times, history does repeat themselves, right? Just like let's go back with John Abraham. Guy wanted big bucks, and he was our last pure pass rusher. And the guy had merited every money that he got from Atlanta. When we traded him, look at the fruits that just labored from that. We got two huge offensive linemen. We got DeBrickshaw at the top of the draft, and at the end, because of that trade, we got a solidified center in Mangold. Who's to say, again, I love Jamal Adams. I would love for him to be the cornerstone of our defense for life. But as you said, if he's going to bring a circus that he wants to get paid, which, again, he rightfully so needs to get paid, if you can get rid of him in exchange for a top-off draft pick, at least picks, you need first and second rounders for the guy. Don't give me no first and third, first and fourth, none of that. Give me a first and second, because that's what he's worth. And then you could turn it into a huge hole that we have, and that's offensive line. Look, the guy was a ragdoll, Sam Darnold, last year. No offensive line whatsoever, nothing. I mean, hopefully we can get a Thuney or a Conklin or whatnot, and maybe an Andrew Thomas. Look at all these talks that we're hearing right now that a whole bunch of quarterbacks might be going, the first, 4 or 5 picks or whatnot. Maybe Andrew Thomas might slip down, but then we still need that center. Maybe a Hennessy might be there, that we could snag up. You know what I mean? But I think with Adams, I would love to pay him. But at this point, man, you know what? There are more holes than a strong safety. Definitely strong safety is going to be a hole if he leaves. It's going to be a void that you have to fill in. But, priority is priority, and my priority is offensive line. We waited a long time for Sam, and you have to protect the dude. If not, again, we waited so long, he's going to turn up to be an Andrew Luck. He's a good core. He's a smart guy, like a super smart dude. He'll know. All right, you know what? I'm not going to have a future here. There's no way either I'm going to retire, or even worst case scenario, you might pull a Cutler. Trade me. And you would have every right. If you're not protecting the guy, come on now. Like, enough is enough. We have to build that offensive line. And that's why right now the jury is out on Joe Douglas. We don't know if he's good. We don't know if he's bad. We have no idea. That's why all these reports, to me, it's all erroneous. We have absolutely no idea what's going on behind the scenes with the whole Robbie Anderson. The Jets aren't going to sign him. Jets aren't going to trade Bell. We have no idea. Honestly, if you want to maximize the productivity of Bell, you get yourself an offensive line. And obviously, in the draft, you get yourself a faster running back. So you could spell it here and there.
And look, and I hear you, Dan. I think you want to maximize his productivity. You might actually want to use him. That would be, that would be essential. You'd actually want to, game plan and put him in the game plan, so that he can actually be on the field, so that he can do something. So that would be a big deal, but you'd have to have a better play caller for that. And we know that, Gates is coming back. But, look, I'm right there with you. Okay, I've been screaming about the offensive line and pass rushers for quite some time now, and now, we've paid the piper, and we've seen the issues that we have here, So, you're completely right. We must protect Sam, and that's why I want to talk to you about the Adams stuff first, because, okay, I see how you want to deal with Adams. You're looking to say, okay, look, I'm just not going to pay him this year, whether you trade him or not. I know you don't want to pay him. So then you look at this offensive line, and you're saying to yourself, you look at free agency, you look at how we're set up, you look at us, especially when you match us up against some of the other teams that we have in our division. Are you concerned that we won't be able to get some of these top-tier free agent offensive linemen in here because we're not a great destination?
All these other teams, even the ones that have a lot of money, they're not that great destinations either, like Miami. And everyone is saying, Buffalo this, Buffalo that. You know what? The Jets in Buffalo, they were neck and neck. You put in Sam those 3 games that he missed out and whatnot. They were neck and neck. Even that first game. You could draw parallels there that the Jets and the Bills are almost at the same stance. You have to place into the equation that look at all the starters that went on IR with the Jets. You know what I mean? Sometimes we have that bad luck. But I'm going to say one thing, and I'm pretty sure Tyson's going to be right on the top corner buckle, just ready to body slam, like just jump off the, just to give me like a freaking huge body slam, what I'm about to say. But what if the last time that we had a head coach GM tandem that actually had an eye-to-eye plan and actually it worked was the Mangini Tannenbaum? That they both had like a certain plan in mind, and it did work out. You know, obviously the guy got fired after the third year with 9-7, but after that we really didn't have a good head coach GM.
More specifically, vodka, whiskey, beer, tequila, more beer, more vodka.
Go ahead.
So, with that being said,
I have a question for you. I have a question for you. Because since you're so optimistic and you're trying to sell me your vision here, which I mean,
I can't even sell to myself.
But here, I'm going to let you be. Today, right now, you are Joe Douglas, and I'm going to be Joe Thuney. I'm Joe Thuney, you're Joe Douglas. Give me your sales pitch to make me want to sign with your New York Jets.
As Joe Douglas right now. Of course. I'm going to pay you the most out of any other team. Sign with us. We have a bright future. We have a young quarterback. Right now, no, let me finish. You know, we finished the year, 6-2. That's a sell. As much as you don't want to hear that, and as much as I don't believe that, I don't believe that nonsense. But it's part of the caveat. You know, to lure free agents in. We finished 6-2 with a depleted. Wait, hold on. With a depleted roster.
My career here. Well, here's my problem. The money the Buffalo Bills offer me is the same as yours, and they went to the playoffs last year. So what can you do for me? How are you? What are you selling me?
I know some free donuts.
Oh my God!
But let me tell you, that's up to Joe Douglas right there. Yeah. Again, that's up to Joe Douglas.
So basically, your sales pitch is money. That's all it is. You have nothing else to sell us, and you're a positive Jets fan.
Why not? That's what we got.
You can't even sell our program, man.
Yeah,
I can't. But that's Joe Douglas's job.
I need you to put on your business suit.
I wasn't expecting this kind of role play tonight.
Listen,
you're
expect that.
You're supposed to be the positive, Joe. He's supposed to be positive. Yeah. I'm a positive Jets fan. I'm feeling okay. Sell me the program. Sell me the vision.
I'm gonna step in. I'm gonna because I defend the people. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna try my best.
Tyson. We're going to 1-15. Yeah.
Listen.
That would be your intro going into the ring, Tyson.
I'm looking at Joe Thuney right now. Okay, I'm looking at him. I'm saying, listen, Joe. Right now, we're a young team. We're on the uprise. We got a franchise quarterback in Sam Darnold. This kid is the next coming. We know that he's going to be at top of the league. We're an offense that's building. We have a star in Le'Veon Bell. We've got an offensive-minded head coach in Adam Gase that's putting things together. He's going to get guys in space. This offense is going to be humming. We need you here to be a big part of that. We need to know that you're going to be on this roster because you're going to show up one of the biggest issues that we have here, and it's offensive line play. If we had an offensive line this season, Joe Thuney, I'm telling you, we would have been one of the top offenses in this league. But stepping in here, I recognized it was a problem, and I also recognized you were the guy that were going to fix that problem. So we're going to pay you. No doubt about it. We're absolutely going to make sure that you're one of the highest paid offensive linemen in the league. But we need you here to continue to guide this football team with this. Not only that, you know what I'm saying? Of course, on the field, you're going to make a difference here. We're off the field. Look at us. We're the New York Jets. You have any kind of interest outside of football, any charities you run, any businesses you run, this is the place. This is the Big Apple. You can make it here. You can make it anywhere. We're the complete total package. If you come here and play hard like we know that you can, if you come here and do the same thing that you've done your entire career and put this team on your back, sky's the limit here for you. The entire world will be open to you. The fan base will love you. You'll be immortalized, and we're going to win. That's what it's all about.
Joe, you got to be coach for the Jets, dude. Holy smoke, man. I'm ready to freaking run through a freaking wall for you right now.
Well,
I'd play with Tyson.
You gotta sell it. You gotta sell it. You gotta sell it, Dan. The best.
That's a done deal. Tyson, did you like that? Did you like that, Tyson?
I already
yes or no,
I don't even care. I already signed somewhere else. I don't care.
You went with the Argonauts. No, that was good. That was good. Again, this is all wait and see, and this is unfortunately this is part of the off season. I mean, it's all speculation, and we're all trying to draw something up, something positive, or the realities of this. And it's just one of those things that we just got to wait and see. And this is the killer, man. This is the killer right now. Just waiting for free agency, waiting for the draft. You know. So
this the worst.
Yeah, I'm just thankful you. It is, isn't it? Isn't it the worst? Like everyone's just going back and forth. Speculations are going everywhere. The media is just on fire right now. I mean, Semini's just throwing a whole bunch of stuff out there. No, but no one knows. And that's the biggest thing. That at least with like McCagnon, we knew that the guy sucked. And some of us did, some of us didn't. Like I didn't. I had high expectations. But with Joe Douglas, no one knows. Nobody. Does he have connections? Does he have pull here and there? Can he at least solidify all these draft picks, select them correctly, not just getting like a whole bunch of picks and then come season we start cutting them, which I highly doubt that he would do something like that. But who knows? We don't know. Hopefully, we hit the jackpot with this guy and he could just just build the right team. And we waited too long, man. Just like Chiefs fans, they waited a long time. Now it's our turn.
Dan, good stuff as always, man. Have a good night.
Yo, Joe, what was that? Go, come on, man. Let's a positive note.
Chiefs fan. Listen. I don't want to hit you I don't want to hit you with the negativity bat before you run out.
No, give me some more motivation. That's what I need right now.
Look, the Chiefs. The Chiefs waited a long time, but they had a direction. We are literally spinning in a circle.
And a whole thing.
We are literally spinning in a circle. Yeah. I mean, come on. But I hear the positivity, Dan. You know what I'm saying? Do what you got to do. We'll get through these times together, my friend. Don't worry.
Yes, sir. Guys, thank you so much for taking the call, man. Have a great one, guys. Later.
You too. All right, Joe, I took a calculated risk here because we've had a very busy night of calls, and it's a little bit later in the evening, so it's 9:45 Eastern Standard Time, which could be nap time for some. It could be past some people's bedtime. So I took a calculated chance here that I'm hopefully that he's still awake for the call, but we'll see what happens. This will probably be the second Steve we have tonight.
Come on, man. This is crazy. You keep disrespecting this man at every turn.
Steve, what's up, man?
Call in and bring the fire, dude.
Good evening. How are you guys?
What's going on, man? How you doing, Steve? Don't deal with the disrespect.
What's going on, guys?
I've already protected you.
You've already protected me? Oh, boy.
So, Steve, what are your thoughts on the whole Le'Veon Bell situation where they said he gained weight, now fans are criticizing him? I mean, how would you evaluate Bell this past season?
How would I evaluate Bell? I'm going to say this right now about Le'Veon Bell. It's not his fault, okay? He played through a bad offensive line, and then they talk about because he gained some weight. Probably that weight he gained had to be muscle, okay? I mean, listen, I'm not some scientific genius for crying out loud, but I mean, the thing is that he played with a bad offensive line, and, Adam Gase didn't use him right. It was just, to me, he is a class act player. He's still, to me, a huge offensive weapon. The way they're talking about Le'Veon, it's like, come on, it's ridiculous. And by the way, happy birthday to Le'Veon Bell today.
All right, Steve, I'm going to give you 3 players, and you're going to say if you're going to cut them or keep them, all right?
Okay.
All right, Darryl Roberts, if you cut him, you save $6 million. Do you keep him or cut him?
Cut him.
Okay, Josh Bellamy, keep him or cut him, $2 million. Nate Hairston, $2 million.
I keep him.
And why would you keep him?
The thing is, I know at times that there were times where Nate Harrison towards the end of the season struggled, and when he did fill in for Tremaine Johnson when Tremaine was struggling and before Tremaine did get hurt. And I know he did have that one bad game against the Giants. But here is the thing. I would actually give Nate Harrison another chance. I give him one more chance.
Yeah, look, and I hear you. I'm right there with you. I think Nate Harrison is a guy that, we should keep. Like you said, he did have a bad game, but, he filled in adequately at spots as well. And he's a guy that, could fill in solid depth, especially for $2 million. There's no issues with that. So he is a guy that I would bring back too. But I want to get your thoughts on this though, Steve. The Ropes are not going to re-sign Robbie Anderson because the price is just a little bit too high. What are your thoughts on that, man?
Robbie Anderson is not worth like 13 to 17, 18 million dollars, okay? He is not worth that money. I mean, 10 million, what Joe Douglas was going to try to give him, what the Jets are trying to give him, that's actually a pretty fine deal. But Robbie Anderson, it doesn't look like he wants to take that deal. And you know what? Listen, nothing against Robbie Anderson. I think he did a lot of good things for the Jets, but I think it's time to move on from him. Robbie Anderson feels like that he wants to play as a number one receiver. Guess what? Robbie Anderson, to me and to a lot of the other Jet fans, he is not a number one receiver. Robbie Anderson has to go.
Yeah. So with that, Steve, I understand you want to move on from Robbie. I feel kind of the same way as well. I think that price tag is a bit too high for me too. Are there any wide receivers that you'd like to see the Jets target in free agency to kind of fill that void?
Well, the thing is, when I look at the Jets free agency class, I mean, at the free agency class for wide receiver for free agency. Wow, I can't talk right now. The wide receiver class with free agency, the thing is, there are some big names up there, but my only concern is that these receivers are going to ask for money position, during the draft. I mean, during free agency, then, you've got the draft, and then, we spoke about two guys, Jerry Jeudy and CeeDee Lamb. Those could be players, that could fill the spot that Robbie Anderson was supposed to have, and maybe that could be like a future number one for Sam for the future.
Steve, would you consider trading for Slay, a young cornerback, a Pro Bowl cornerback?
Here is the thing of how I see that. I would do it if Darius Slay asks for the right amount of money. If Darius Slay is going to ask for too much, then I would say no.
Well, I mean, he's a Pro Bowl corner, so the right money is going to be, $14, $15 million a year. That's the going rate for a Pro Bowl corner.
Well, if that is going to be the rate, Tyson, then you know what? I say let's do it. But
so what would you give in terms? What would you give for a trade? What would you offer in a trade?
Oh wow! What I would have if I was Joe Douglas and if I would give up to Detroit, I would probably say, a second round pick for a second round pick for 2021 and a third round pick for 2021 to get Darius Slay.
So you wouldn't give any picks up for this year? You give away next year's picks?
Next year.
They're not doing that. Yeah, they're not going to do that, man. They're going to want something for this year. So if you have to give something for this year, what would you give?
Then I would probably do the second round and the third round of this year for 2020.
So you would do a second and third round pick and $15 million a year for Slay? Oof. Joe, your thoughts?
Listen, it's just an idea.
I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
No, it's your opinion. I wouldn't do that. I definitely wouldn't do that.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily do that. But Steve, what he's seeing is a need on this football team. There is a gaping hole at corner, right? We don't have a number one. We won't have a number two either. With Roberts being gone, he's asked either way.
Yeah,
so
thank you, Mike McTaggart, for giving Tremaine Johnson all that money.
Exactly. So if you can, I can see you getting settle down, Steve. I could see you getting, a solid corner in Slay, and Steve is willing, to spend the capital. I mean, when you get a Pro Bowl player like that, I can understand it, but I'm not necessarily a Slay guy myself as far as trading that type of capital right now.
Here, let me ask you guys this, and this is actually something that some fans were talking about. Let's say the Jets do go out and sign a corner. How about this then? Here's the thing. How about this? How would you feel if I told? Would you feel comfortable having Bless Austin or Arthur Millette in your second corner position?
I mean, worth a shot. I mean, I think they both have a lot to prove.
Well, yeah. Well, here's the deal: is that could be a possibility. Maybe that will happen, but for that to happen, I think would have had to have addressed other needs, decently or sufficiently, right? So say we take a lot of our resources and pour it into offensive line, wide receiver, and pass rusher. I could see that happening where maybe Bless ends up being a starter or being a number two because we got the number one field, but again, because this is going to be a process, we're coming out of, garbage-ass Mike McCagnon, so there's just holes and issues everywhere. So I could see that being there, but the other impact positions, we better have filled adequately.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, and the thing is today, here's the thing, what you guys have been getting, throughout all the stuff the last few days, and listen, I've seen it on Twitter of what you guys are getting. It's just, unfortunately, this is what Jets fans are, and all that stuff, listen, it's been over 50 years that we haven't had a championship. It's just, and the way of how I see this is when I look at this, everybody's all saying, okay, we got to get this player, we got to get this player, we got to get this and this and this and that. It's like all the fans are panicking. It's like right now we're in the middle of February. Like we still have a month to go for free agency. 2 months before the draft. I mean, we got to take this 1 week, a few days, and 1 week at a time. It's like we got to see what happens.
Yeah, well, I mean, anything can happen on any day. I mean, you see, players are starting to get cut now. I mean, they're going to start making moves eventually because they got to, know what kind of salary cap space they're going to have and see what kind of moves they make with other teams. So moves are going to start happening now within the next
the thing
week
is,
or so.
Now, you guys mentioned about, hey, listen, about how the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins, have a lot more money in their cap than we do. And listen, I understand, everybody is all worried about that. If the Jets try, that Jets fans are fearing that we go out and we sign that person to a lot of money, or is it either going to be those players want to be on a team that's almost ready to win as Buffalo, or the thing is Miami. I mean, here is the thing. When I look at the Bills and the Dolphins and all that stuff, listen, they're two different organizations, The Dolphins are still kind of in a rebuild. And the thing is with Buffalo, listen, Buffalo had a good team last year. Maybe they'll be good again this year. Maybe they'll fall down to earth. You just don't know what's going to happen in the NFL. So,
yeah, but if you have to sell a program, though, if you're going to the playoffs, the Buffalo Bills are a team on the rise, and they have $80 million in cap space. It's a good sell.
Absolutely.
The Miami Dolphins are in a complete rebuild, but they can sell a vision with the coach that a lot of people like, a ton of draft picks, a ton of cap space, and South Beach. You're in Florida, man. Like, it's not like you're going to deal with New Jersey and all the nonsense up here. You're living in Florida, dude. It's like it's a whole different. Yeah. I mean, and that's just those two teams, Steve. But you look at other teams across the NFL that have ample cap space too, that have better programs or a respected coach or a more prominent quarterback. I mean, it's not an easy sell, man. When you haven't made the playoffs in 10 years, and there's an ownership question and there's a coaching question.
I know, and I mean, listen. I know a lot of players are like, I don't know if we want to play for Adam Gase. But, and listen, I'm not an Adam Gase guy. I've said it before. And the way of how I see this, too, is, this is all on Joe Douglas's hands. And you know what? I'm giving Joe Douglas a chance of seeing what he could do. One thing I'm hoping for that I've said before, hopefully he can build this offensive line to get Sam protected. So.
Yep, that's the vision for all of us, hopefully. Steve, have a good night, man. Thanks for calling in.
Yeah, good night, guys. Goodbye.
Joe, and that's the thing. Listen, I hate the Bills. I hate the Dolphins. I don't like giving teams credit for anything like that. But if you evaluate the full scenario and you look at the full program and what they're doing and what they're about and what the respect level is and the perception, it's hard to ignore it, man.
Yeah.
Even the Dolphins. The Dolphins had a terrible team, a terrible year, and somehow, with Brian Flores inspired people. People love the guy. Like, oh, he did all these good things. You add in all these first-round picks and a ton of cap space. They're marketing the team. It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. First off, I want to thank Steve for calling in. He called in with his usual fire. You know what I'm saying? It was great to speak to him. But you're completely correct. And this is something that we've talked about as well. You look at these teams that are within our division. Like you said, the Bills, this is a team that's on the uptick. I hate everybody, outside of us that's in the AFC East. But you look at this team they've built. That's a playoff team. They were in the playoffs. They were fighting, scrapping. And they're, like you said, they have cap room. There's more guys that they can pick up. They need one of those top-tier offensive weapons, and boom, they're really going to take off. So they have a lot of things in place. They play hard. They're coached well. You look at the Dolphins. The Dolphins are having a down year, but this was a tank year for them. It pretty much was, was acknowledged pretty much across the league. But you got Flores in there, got those guys united. They're fighting hard. They're playing hard. Wasn't the greatest year, when you look at their record, but those guys were in a lot of games that they should not have been in, especially when you look at the lack of talent that's on that football team. He was able to pull those guys together and inspire them. That's a place where a lot of players are going to want to go. They want to go there and be coached by a guy that's bringing that fire. And like you said as well, the destination. Miami's a great place for a lot of people to go. A lot of great stuff to do down there, a lot of great people to meet. So, it's going to be tough, man. It really is going to be tough to sell this team to a lot of, upcoming free agents. But Joe Douglas has got to do that, man. He's got to put on that suit and get that salesmanship going.
Yeah, he's got to do that, or he's got to be smarter than everybody else and find these mid-tier guys that can contribute and do good things too, which, that's how you build your team, I guess. I don't know. We're going to go to Mr. Spotty Blackman. Kevin, what's up, man? Yo, Kev. Oh boy,
Spotty, is he there?
We got him live. Hit the button. He may have some.
Hello.
I hear him.
Oh man, I'm having technical difficulties over here.
Oh come on, man! You had us sweating over here.
Yeah, no, I'm still here. Just
I think he's got some phone issues, Joe.
Did he cut out?
No, he just dropped off. He must be in bad coverage area. We'll wait a couple minutes. He'll probably call back in.
Yeah.
The interesting takes on, you look at the AFC East, and it's like, all right, and then you look at the AFC in general, and you look at all these other teams, and it's like, man, it's interesting, dude. This free agency is so interesting because Joe Douglas, he's got a very good front office around him. He's got a lot of, quality guys. They're making moves at the Senior Bowl to check out the XFL. They're doing all these really good things. So it seems like they have a good feel of what they want to do. Now it's a matter of putting their plan together. And I find it fascinating. I really don't know how they're going to go about doing this with so many holes. So we're going to bring Kevin back on. Let's try this. Call number 2 from Kevin. What's up, man?
Yeah, right. Let's try this again. I'm sorry. I'm having a hard time over here tonight.
So Kevin, here's your challenge. We got a challenge for you. Okay. You're going to be Joe Douglas, and I'm going to be Joe Thuney. And I want you to sell me your program to get me to sign here.
Wow. Okay. You know what, Joe? I'm just going to keep it real with you. We're a team that's in transition right now. You've been in New England. You've seen some success. But what we're asking you to do is to usher in a change of the guard. We've got a really solid nucleus here. We've got what looks quite possibly like it could be a top 10 defense. We've got one of the best special teams units in the league. And that really is just to let you know that we are doing things around you to build this organization. And this is exactly what it is that we're asking you to do, to come and help us build this organization. Quarterback in the AFC East right now. And if we sit in the catbird seat in the AFC East, you're looking at quite possibly at playoffs every single season. What we need right now is we need building blocks, Joe. We see you as a building block. We're going to pay you accordingly as a building block. But just recognize what it is that we have right now. Again, we have an up-and-coming offense. There's going to be some changes, obviously. I'm just going to put that out there. There's going to be some changes.
Offense? He don't even have receivers.
He's come on.
What?
Look, yeah, look, come on now.
He's selling. Come on.
You asked me to make a sales pitch. I'm going to make a sales pitch because right now what we're doing is we're going to aggressively build this offense. Aggressively, we're going at this like literally like it is our number one priority, and it is. And with that being said, just to let you know that we feel like you are our number one priority. Think about that. So yeah, I mean, it doesn't sound far fetched. Maybe I think that that's a reality. Yeah, I think that's serious. That's true right now. If we can bring this guy in, the possibility is if we are smart with what else it is that we do. Come on now.
Yeah.
So it's not far fetched.
Exactly. Kev, first off, I want to thank you for calling in, man. You know what I'm saying? That was a great pitch. You know what I'm saying? If I'm Joe Duty, I'm signing. I'm signing off of that. That was a great pitch. You kept it real, and it was great salesmanship. I absolutely loved it. But you talked about building blocks. You talked about, getting guys in here and one of those things leads me to this, because there's a lot of people that are looking and saying, hey, Jamal Adams, great player, but he's a safety. We need other building blocks around here. We got to get to premium position. So what do you say to the people that are now coming up on Twitter, various social media platforms, and saying that we should trade Jamal Adams and get as much capital as we can?
Well, we would need to get as much capital as we can because we basically need to draft 3 players to play all of the positions that he plays. I mean, if you really think about it, Jamal Adams he's a safety, but what does he do? Everything. Literally, everything. So we get rid of Jamal Adams, and then we have to replace Jamal Adams and what else Jamal Adams does. I know it's always going to come down to money when we have these kind of conversations, and I think it's Philly season because now we've got all these ESPN prognosticators who really think they can come on and just spit a take based on watching snippets here and there, thinking that they really know what's going on, when half of them don't know what they're watching when they're watching a football game because they're too busy screaming at their phone in their fantasy league, drinking beer, eating nachos, and listening to the little, commentary in between, but they don't know what they're watching. They don't understand what it is that they're seeing. They don't understand how this stuff plays, how it works.
I think they understand, but I think the problem is this. They could say, listen, Joe Douglas, the Jets as an organization may say, listen, we don't want to pay you till after this year. So that would be the end of this year. And Jamal Adams will say, you know what, I want my money now. I've earned it, All-Pro, Pro Bowl, I want it now. If there's a stalemate and a potential of an ugly contract saga, then what do? You
have to trade him. But at that point in time, it's weakened. You understand, because now the people that you're negotiating with understand that it's a tense situation. So they're not gonna give you everything of what it is that you need. Then maybe you're looking at a 1 1/3 and saying, oh yeah, it was the best that we could do. That's ridiculous. And yeah, it sounds really good, but that's ridiculous. That shouldn't be the best that we should want to do in this case. We really shouldn't even be contemplating trying to trade Jamal Adams at this point in time. Jamal Adams is too important. And again, I know it's all about money, but we always find money. We find money. Teams find money, especially when you're talking about players the caliber of Jamal Adams. We constantly get rid of players because we don't want to pay them. All right, we don't build anything that way. Who wants to come here? Oh yeah, if I don't have a good season, they're gonna get rid of me anyway. Nobody wants to come. They're not winning anyway. Why come here if you're not winning? All of these different things. So, yeah, the reason why they come here is money. But the fact of the matter is that we need players. We need to keep, retain, build, grow as many good players as we have, which is maybe why I feel the way I feel about Robbie right now. I think we should pay him. I don't care. I'm telling you right now, we're smart, again, about how we build the remainder of this team. Robbie Anderson is worth that money to us.
And do you think if they don't re-sign him, then they would be foolish because they should have then traded him at the trade deadline, right?
You know what? I think we all have to kind of think about maybe they either over or underestimated values based on what you're going to get at the trade deadline. and what it is that you're going to get in free agency. Two different animals. You know, so maybe what they thought at the time that it wasn't enough because maybe they recognized how valuable Robbie actually was to Sam at that point. And then you're talking about yanking Robbie out at the end of the season. What happens if there's no Robbie Anderson at the end of the season? Does Adam Gase get fired? Because now we have nothing. Literally, we have almost absolutely nothing from offensively. I just don't get it. I mean, at this point, it's more functional football than it actually is financial at this point. Free agency, everyone knows and everyone says it. We've been talking about this, for weeks ad nauseum. You overpay in free agency. It's what happens. So now what it is that we have the situation where a guy that we probably should have or could have paid previously if we weren't going to, try to get rid of him, now he's going to command what it is that he commands. And to be perfectly honest with you, he's earned it here based upon what it is that we have. Just like back in the day. Oh, yeah, back in the day when we were talking about how we needed to build offensive line and we didn't have a pass rush and all of that. The good old days. Still going on right now. It's the same thing. We're missing out on the same stuff. We're making the same mistakes. This is what Joe Douglas was brought in for. Joe Douglas needs to fix this. This is where we need to see clear direction. But we're really, at this point, we're spinning our wheels. We don't know until he does it.
Yeah.
What do you guys think he's going to do? You know what I'm saying? Like, really?
Yeah. Kev, look, I hear you. I mean, I get it. People like Robbie and what he brings to the offense. But to me, if you're talking about paying him $15 million a year for what he does, he's not worth that. He's not.
No.
He's just not.
Yeah,
Especially when you look at
if I can just clarify,
that guy
Joe,
never had 1,000 yards.
I understand.
At all.
I understand all of that. And if I can just clarify, because I don't want this to be kind of taken out of context. Obviously, we're talking common sense stuff, but he's never had 1,000 yards. There could be reasonings behind that, but when we're talking about paying him, I don't think we would have to pay him $15 million. I think reasonably he wants to pay. He wants to play here. If we're talking about the difference between us giving him $14 million and somebody else giving him $15 million, and he wants to go someplace else, I think if we offered it to him, I think he'd stay here. I think he wants to play here. I think what we need to do is we need to really negotiate in good faith here. That's what I think. I think $15 million might be the going rate, but I don't necessarily think that is what it would take to bring him back. I just don't believe that.
Yeah. Okay, so you're telling me you think that Robbie Anderson would take $14 million to play here if the Eagles offer him the same $14 million? He'd pass up on a chance to play for the Eagles.
You know what?
Still stay here.
I'll be honest with you. I know that's the hometown for him and all of that. In Temple. I don't know. I really can't call that. I'll say this though. Maybe this is me just being optimistic, but I still think that our trajectory will put us on an equal playing field with the Eagles if we make the necessary moves besides this one. See, that's people. We're still missing this whole big picture thing, and people are talking about all these things in a vacuum. But these things are not happening in a vacuum. They're happening as a collective. All of these things put together, it needs to be smart. It needs to be intelligent. It needs to be constructed the way that we're hoping that Joe Douglas has learned from Ozzie Newsome and from all the other people that he's learned under to be able to do long term. So these are chess pieces. Again, Robbie's a unique piece. Robbie moves different. Robbie, that might actually change the value a little bit, especially in this moment. Again, this is not a vacuum. It's in this moment. This offseason, with what it is that we have to work with right now, with this team, with this quarterback, with this coaching staff, with this piss-poor offensive line, the way that it's been, but hopefully not the way that it's going to be. We have to recognize that these things are supposed to be long-term moves. We shouldn't actually be, we're going to bring a guy in for a year. Why?
Yeah, but why would we need to do that? This is my thoughts on it. I don't understand. Like I said, I wouldn't pay Robbie unless he's looking for $9 to $10 million, and I would not pay Robbie anywhere near $14 million because I can take that money. Because like you just talked about, and you talked about a lot of great points, but particularly the offensive line, that is much needed here. So why wouldn't I take that money, allocate it to other needs, offensive line, corner, pass rusher, all these issues that we have, and just draft a guy in this deep draft that is full of great wide receivers that can do exactly what Robbie does. Robbie had 700-something yards this year. He only had 300-yard games, I think, this entire year, and 2 of them were against 2 really bad teams. There were times this year where he completely disappeared.
Are we not going to take into account most of the year's worth of horrible quarterback play and what could even be possibly considered even worse coaching? There's a lot of different things that come into play when that comes in.
There was also times this year as well where we talked about him gator arming balls. We talked about him not fighting for footballs in the air. And there were also drops as well. Were we not talking about that this year too? I'm just keeping it fair and keeping it real.
I think you'll have that with every wide receiver. There'll always be something that you could nitpick. Obviously, I'm not gonna say that Robbie's a perfect receiver, and not once have I ever said that he was a one either. I think for what it is that we do or what we should be doing, I think he's a necessary piece in the puzzle. Yeah, I think we should draft a receiver anyway. I don't think we should draft one high, but I think we should draft a receiver anyway. We're going to need wide receiver depth. If we get rid of Robbie, that doesn't necessarily mean that we only need to bring in one guy to replace him. We still have all of these other things that are going on that need to be done. Again, these conversations we're having them singularly. This is a huge topic with this team because there are so many things. It's not like we're a one-issue team right now. We've got issues on offense. We've got issues on defense. We've got issues in coaching. We've got issues with, front office. We've got questions, ownership. Again, I think I heard you earlier talking about what's going to happen if Woody comes home or when Woody comes home. What's going to happen? Does it shake things up? Who knows? But I mean, in a perfect world right now, we bring in an extremely big catch on the offensive line. But then we build smart. We build with youth. If we are going to bring in guys, we shouldn't be looking to bring in, 3 $15 million guys, 4 $15 million guys, unless what we're talking about is, again, supplementing offensive places and edge. I think that those are the only places really that I can see where we should be spending that type of money. Even on cornerback, you're talking about bringing Slay in. I don't think we have the draft capital for that. I really honestly think that we need as many swings as possible. We need to be as smart as possible with how it is that we do allocate those resources, which means that maybe, we do move around a little bit. Look, this is not a sentimental pick. This is a functional pick. Okay? We were talking, some years back about having receivers that could stretch the field, but not having a quarterback that could reach them. Now we have a quarterback that can reach him, and we're talking about getting rid of the guy that we know for a fact can actually affect the game with one play by stretching the field. He's a unique piece. He's a home run hitter. There aren't that many of them, and he's ours. We grew him. Pay him. Send a signal to the rest of the kids that we draft. Send a signal to the other free agents. If you ball here, we'll do right by you. I'm not saying we're going to break the bank for in this situation. It's not a break the bank situation, but it is what it is that we're trying to make a logical decision that I think actually works best for everyone involved. Give him huge guarantees. Give him huge guarantees. Get him off the salary cap after a couple of years. The way you structure contracts is also very important. Because it's possible to do stuff, that will allow you to get rid of that. I'm telling you, it's possible. Well, but beyond all of that, now you got to keep in mind again, there are going to be other guys that we need to pay. So, I mean, don't expect we're going to bring in 60 guys this season.
Yeah. Look, and I hear you, but if you look at it, so this dude wants to get paid. He's talked about it all year. I mean, there were various tweets where he's letting you know, I need that cash, and especially with the wide receiver market being, kind of thin here, he's a guy that's going to get money, and, I just don't, I wouldn't touch it. But I'm going to move on from that. I want to talk to you about...
everybody wants to get paid, though, Joe.
Everybody wants to get paid, but, I don't... I just don't think we're in a place to pay him what he needs. But I want to talk to you about Le'Veon Bell, man, because there's reports coming out, that the Jets thought he lacked explosiveness and that he gained weight. Man, what are your thoughts about these reports that leak every so often about Bell? And what are your thoughts about the way he's being handled here, man?
I think these are nails in Adam Gase's coffin, hopefully as far as Joe Douglas is concerned. Le'Veon Bell is a workhorse. Come on now. I mean, what is he? He's posting videos of himself working out every week, every day. You see something else during the off season and during the season. That's ridiculous. So, you're trying to muddy the waters a little bit. Maybe they're trying to see if they can make some moves or try to see if they can get him a break. He's a consummate professional. I really think this is childish. This is idiotic. But also,
they're trying to justify a trade.
You can't justify a trade. You cannot justify a trade because you're not going to get back to him. You're not going to get back to him.
But what they're trying to do, and they've started this process all last year, is Adam Gase knows how to play the media. He has his sources, and he leaks out all these stories. So when and if they finally do this trade, they're going to say, oh, and look, he gained weight, he was late for practice, he didn't go to meetings, he didn't do this. They're trying to slowly but surely feed a narrative to us so they can justify making this move. That's what it seems like to me. Why else would they do it?
You know what?
There's no other reason to do it.
I don't. Yeah,
what blows me? I'm sorry, Kev, but you know what blows my mind about that is that all those things that we're talking late, whether they say he's late for practice or he gains weight or he lacks explosiveness, all that would drive his trade value down. That's what blows my mind about these stories that are being leaked. It's like if they do want to trade him, which I believe they do as well, Tyson. Why would you leak this stuff? Because you're driving his trade value down. Why would anyone trade for a running back that has a $13 million contract that you are saying, hey, listen, he lacks explosiveness?
Exactly.
A running back? You want me to trade top dollar or top capital for a running back that is lacking explosion? And running backs get older, they're a dime a dozen? What kind of idiot? This is idiotic. And I know I'm not going to say who it is, but you know who's doing this. This is crazy.
You hit it right on the head.
Sorry, Kev, go ahead.
You're making it difficult for Joe Douglas to do a job if he is really contemplating trying to trade him. I mean that's kind of not only are you muddying the waters and making it difficult for a player who really wants to play here and who you want to play here, but even if you were trying to trade him, now you're making it seem like the guy's not worth trading or not worth trading for. Excuse me. So yeah, that's stupid. I really wish that wasn't a thing. I'll be honest with you. This topic of discussion really in the silliest of silly seasons. This actually shouldn't even be part of it. I really hate that this is a thing. This is just dumb, especially when you're talking about one of the best players on your team, and one of the best players in the league. Period. So yeah. How about we do this? I wanted to ask a question kind of specifically about the draft in particular, because I'm seeing all of these kind of mock drafts coming out and the choice between going offensive line and wide receiver at 11. I really don't think there's a question about that in particular, but I'm thinking about that second pick, that second round pick. Do you think offensive line again? If you think that's possible, you think maybe we could look center, or do you honestly think that is the wide receiver talent, right now is that really kind of the best way for us to look at then, or do we go cornerback?
See, it's hard. It's hard to do a lot of that stuff. Though we don't know what we did in free agency. Like we make two big splashes. It's like it's so. So we get all these mock drafts and all this stuff, and it's like it's so hard to even figure it out. It's like, all right, who did we sign? Who did we lose? Like it's just it's like a if-then statement. You know what I mean? It's tough to figure out.
Strategically, because that's kind of really
the
what
one thing Peter King kept saying. Like Peter King did an interview today on WFAN, and he supposedly knows Joe Douglas pretty well, and he says that Joe Douglas is adamant, and this would almost freak me out a little bit. They said he's a very stickler to best player available, regardless of position. And I was like, oh, God, don't do this to me again. And Peter King said it twice. He's like, yep, because Joe Douglas is all about the best player available. He's got a 6-year contract. He's not about the quick fix. He's about getting the best talent available. I was like, oh, Jesus Christ. If we go, could you imagine? just like, hopefully this is just all speculation. I would jump off a bridge at the end.
We'd have to pray. We have to pray how he ranks his board. Then you know what I'm saying? Like, how's he going to rank his board?
Imagine like a defensive lineman again.
Oh no! We can't even. I could never see that. I could never see that. Guys,
so Kevin, give up. Go ahead.
No, I'm just gonna say this is a big deal because there's going to be a lot of different things that are going to get kicked around over the course of the next few weeks. What was it, like 20-some-odd days until free agency starts? So, I mean, there's going to be a lot of noise. There's going to be a lot of chatter. There's going to be a lot of negative stuff. There's going to be a lot of everything. But we just a message to the fans right now, I guess. We kind of need to ease up a little bit. I don't believe anything until it's announced by the Jets specifically. But we kind of need to temper expectations also. This is not going to be a one-year thing. It's not going to be a one-move thing. We do have some serious questions about how we spend the money, but I do, in the end, hope that we spend it wisely. So we need to let this be a reality check for us right now. We really don't know what's going on, but let's this is not Madden either.
Kevin, good stuff as always. Give out information on your new podcast, man.
That's what's up. Weapons Hot. We're coming. We're going to start March 1st. Some guests lined up. I'm really excited about that. Me and CJ are still working on some things. CJ, the painkiller, B. Simone, my guy. I'm really excited to be a part of that. At Spotty Blackman, hit me up. Weapons Hot. As of right now, there's going to be some changes too. So we're still the CNC Jets Factory. Jets Factor. Excuse me. CNC Jets Factor is still the home page for that, but that's going to be changing up pretty soon. So just stick with me on my page, follow CJ, and we'll get back with you. It's going to be really fun. It's going to be really exciting. We got a lot to talk about. Thanks a lot, guys, for giving me the platform. Can I hang?
No problem, man. Have a good night. Joe, good stuff from Kevin as always. And it's interesting. Like, it's funny because it is that time of year where it's like all we can do right now is just react to reports and speculation because there's not really anything else out there until moves actually happen. But with certain things, especially with this Le'Veon Bell thing, you can read through the tea leaves. When stories get leaked, it's so friggin' obvious who it's coming from, who is doing it, what's the agenda, and if fans can't see that, I mean, come on, it's so transparent at this point.
Yeah, and first I want to thank Kevin for coming on as well. I love talking to him on a basis, and I can't wait to see what him and CJ got cooked up over there. So I can't wait for him to get started. But yeah, I mean, a lot of it is pretty obvious, especially when you're looking at these reports that have been leaked pretty much all throughout the season about Bell. There's just been at every turn, there's been something about him, whether it be the bowling stuff or just other stuff that we've seen, where, hell, there were times during the season where writers were talking about, hey, maybe the Jets will look to trade Le'Veon in the offseason. It was like week 10. Even before the trade deadline, there was stuff coming up about, the Jets looking to trade him. So, I mean, hell, even before that, there were reports that the big rift between Gaze and McCagnon was, Le'Veon Bell. That came out to be true, that there was an issue there. So these reports have been consistent. A lot of the stuff that goes on has been consistent throughout the season, whether it be from the offseason until now. So it's obvious where it's coming from, but it's like, come on, man. If we're doing this now, you got to wonder what's really going on and who really has power in this franchise.
Yeah, it's a bit concerning, to say the least. As we wrap things up here, Instagram and Twitter at Talk Jets Radio, YouTube, Let's Talk Jets Radio. A shout-out to Yankee John, who always hooks us up with great entertainment throughout our show.
Shout out to that
mental health. Yeah, he's funny as hell. He had some funny ones tonight. Let's Talk Mental Health on YouTube. Check that out. Subscribe there. And Joe, almost another 3-hour show. It is your time to shine.
Yes, listen, man. I am the man of the people. I'm here for the people. Let me shamelessly promote our Facebook page. Everyone go on Facebook, search Let's Talk Jets Radio. Like that page. Our content's up there. Go ahead and give it a listen. Message us. We'll message you right back. We love going back and forth with folks about this football team. Also, leave us some feedback. We love hearing about what you folks think we do here on Let's Talk Jets Radio. I'm also on Twitter, at YoungJ000. It's 3 zeros. Go ahead and follow me, and I'll follow you right back, okay? If you want to troll me on there, no issues. I'm the troll that lives under the bridge. I will have my Darnold jersey on, and I will troll you right back. No problem. So, again, go ahead and follow me. I'll follow you right back. We can go back and forth. I'm also on YouTube as well at YoungJ00. That's 2 zeros on YouTube, 3 on Twitter. I do weekly videos. I talk about the Jets still. I'll continue to do that throughout the offseason. So go ahead and subscribe to my content on there as well. You want to troll me on there as well, no issues. I will troll you right back. Just comment, and we can go back and forth on there as well. And as always, people, when you see me in person, all right, it is arms out. Show me the money! Come on, man. Come on, man. We barely got enough money to keep the guys we have, all right? Everyone knows I'm not taking none of the cash. It ain't me. You know what I'm saying? Maybe Robbie. You remember Robbie already said he want money.
Definitely Jamal.
You've never heard.
Definitely Jamal.
I'm saying Jamal want his cash too. You know what I'm saying? You've never heard about me taking a dime. I don't want any money, all right? Look, the hugs are absolutely free. When you see me in person, it's arms out, chest open. Free hugs for everyone. Do not listen to Roush. He is a hater. He is a liar. Will not separate me from the people. The hugs will remain free, all right? I want to thank you folks for listening. Without you people, we are absolutely nothing. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to listen and call in. You folks are the absolute best. And again, shout out to Yankee John, man. That guy's a good guy, man. I love seeing what he does on Twitter. Love interacting with us as well. Shout out.
Enjoy the rest of your week, and if anything breaking news comes out, check out Let's Talk Jets Radio on YouTube. We'll all be commenting on it. Other than that, bye. Let's get free agency here, man. This is torture. Talk to you guys later.